high school football is here. Whataburger Friday Night Stars live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, headquarters to the Dallas Cowboys. And this Friday evening, it's now headquarters to high school football. Hello, gentlemen, as we welcome in week 2, a rainy week 2 of high school football. Kyle Yeomans alongside Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. Guys, how we doing this week?
Great.
Awesome. I mean, look, besides the weather, I couldn't be more ecstatic to be back here.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing right now that's a downer. It's the weather, what's going on in terms of lightning, delays, all the games around the area. It's really been tough to just kind of get a grip on because there are so many games going on in the North Texas area, and almost all of them have been at least delayed by a little bit of it. Eric, what are you feeling about this week?
Oh, it's exciting time. Weather, obviously, football is fun when it's played in dirty weather. You know, the running teams are at an advantage tonight. The defensive teams are at an advantage tonight. But anytime these games get delayed, you never know how the teams and the players react. Hopefully, once these games get going, they can remain and don't have these delays like we saw at Highland Park last week. It was a light delay, but hopefully we don't get a lightning delay throughout these games and keep having to start, pause, start, pause, start. So hopefully these games can just get going once they do, which I think some of them are now. Some of them are underway now.
Some of them are
It's
underway.
an exciting time. Football is back. Week 2 of high school football. Let's party.
Yeah, boy, let's party. How about you, Heckma? You over there feeling good?
I'm feeling awesome, man. You know what? This week of football, you have some great matchups. You stole some of my thunder there, Eric, because I was definitely going to talk about the weather.
Thunder. That was a good one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and, the big guys love this, this horrible weather.
Oh, this is our time.
This is our time. When it's wet, cold, rainy. Let's go. And so definitely loving all the matchups.
Yeah, a lot of splishing and splashing around in the trenches, right?
Oh,
It really kind of feels like a
absolutely.
trench. Well, maybe not as much as it used to in the
See what
olden
you're doing
days.
there.
The turf maybe not as muddy as the natural
Well,
fields.
Pennington Field, I saw a video just a mere hour ago, and it looked like torrential downpour.
underwater.
If those guys
gosh.
are going to be
They're gonna
playing,
be swimming
they're
out there?
going to be swimming. Get
Where's
out the
Michael Phelps
goggles,
when you
get
need
out
him?
the snorkelers. These guys are going to be literally playing under the water today at Pennington.
And that's one of the big things is that a lot of these games were delayed because of rain, because of lightning, but they're starting to kick off a little bit. And we've got a lot that we're going to hit and we're going to talk about throughout our second show here with Friday Night Stars. And there are a lot of games to get to, guys. Some of the top games that we're matched up with. First off, let's start in the Cotton Bowl, just because it's one of the big games, the big venues, and it's also a big delay. It has not started yet. Midway from the Waco area, and then also Mansfield, Lankridge. That's one of the big games looking forward to this weekend. Of course, Midway coming off a big loss.
Yeah, Midway coming off a loss, and now hopefully they can get things going. They traveled 2 hours tonight. Hopefully they don't have to turn around and go home without getting to play a game, but hopefully they're going to get things kicked off. And it's the Cotton Bowl, man. That's a great venue to play in. You're a high school kid. You've been excited to play. The excitement's built up. You drive 2 hours on the school bus, and then you get there and you're sitting around. Kickoff, I mean, this game should already be over right now.
Yeah, you look at the matchup graphic there at the Cotton Bowl. Midway 0-1. Lakeridge also 0-1 as they suffered a loss to one of the Oklahoma teams up in, I believe it was Mountain Union last week, and trying to rebound there. Those defenses gave up quite a few points, 37 and 36 respectively. That offense has to get going. Some other games that we're looking forward to, of course, Denton Guyer and Cedar Hill. Eric, you're going to hit on that a little bit later. That game is to follow from the Cotton Bowl. That game might actually not be played until tomorrow, with this game getting pushed back as much as possible. This was originally a Midway Lakeridge start time that was scheduled for 5 o'clock. So we'll talk about that game in a little bit. Heckma, I know you're pumped up because Colleyville Heritage and Southlake Carroll are matched up against each other. That's an outstanding matchup that really Colleyville Heritage might have a shot to knock off a top team.
In-town rivalry. Coach Joe Willis definitely lives for moments like this versus Southlake. Raleigh Dodge comes in with a team that he has primed and ready to go. A lot of state implications in this early, all right, because everybody's looking for big things from both of those teams this year.
Yeah, you see the matchup as well there.
Southlake has won 10 games in a row against Colleyville Heritage. So,
Wow.
Colleyville's coming in trying to get
Knock
off the
'em off.
schneid
Yeah.
here. a little bit.
I mean, anytime you've got that kind of length going on, you're just thinking, man, what if? But it also has a reverse effect because if things go wrong, you just start to think, oh, here we go again. So a mental toughness is going to be a big thing for Colleyville Heritage in this one. If they go down early to the Dragons, they got to just fight back in.
and we got a big matchup with a receiver and a corner. Receiver
R.J. Mickens.
Yes, yeah,
Cam
R.J.
Brown,
Mickens,
right?
absolutely. Cam Brown, 4-star commit, going to A&M.
Gosh,
And R.J.
that's an
Mickens,
outstanding
another
match.
four-star
Some
corner.
more thunder being stolen here. Just thunder.
Are
is
these your
leaving.
guys?
Oh, we're just taking it right
Hey,
from
no. Look, we're just kind of foreshadowing, and then later on you come in and just hit it out of the park.
All right, got it.
We're
So
setting it up on a
teed it up.
tee, and then
Got it.
after that, we'll all go into it as well. Zach, I know you're definitely you've definitely called games in the past with Denton Ryan. You know that program very well. They've got a pretty tough test with Keller Fossil Ridge coming their way, but it's a home game for the Ryan Raiders. How do they feel about this one?
Well, Ryan, they've had a ton of success the last 3 years. I don't think they've lost a regular season game going on 3 straight years, but this is a renewed rivalry. They haven't played Keller Fossil Ridge since 2015. Ryan won that game 24-21. This is a series that's been really, really competitive. Ryan leads the series overall 4-3, but 4 of those 7 games were decided by 5 points or fewer. So this one, as good as Ryan looked last week against a Poteet team that we'll get to in a moment, that double-digit win that they had, this Keller Fossil Ridge unit on paper might not match up to Ryan, but on the field, these two teams, you throw out the records, they always play close contests.
Fossil Ridge currently up 10-3 right now.
Yep.
Early success for Fossil Ridge. They do have weapons on the outside, but I was thinking coming into this game that defensive line for Ryan was sort of going to dominate the trenches, especially when you look at the weather issues going on.
Absolutely. And well, that's another thing I wanted to get to. You know all the spread offenses here in Texas high school football. Weather like this is not good for spread offenses.
No.
So they're going to have to revert back to running the football. Which team can do that better? But this is a great game because it's 2 elite defenses. You talked about that defensive line for Ryan. Keller Fossil Ridge, 8 starters coming back on defense. They forced 3 interceptions in their win last week. Defense is going to tell the story in this one.
Yeah, you look at Keller Fossil Ridge already playing good defense against a Ryan team that struggled to put up some points last week against Mesquite Poteet. Now, they ended up pulling away late in that game, but that was a game where Ryan didn't necessarily get off to the best start. There's the same thing right here, down 10-3. Fossil Ridge has the ball, and they are driving currently at their own 20-yard line. Also, Zach, I know you're not necessarily the biggest Allen fan on the face of the planet, but you grew up next to Allen High School. You're right down the road. They've got a Utah East matchup, an out-of-state matchup for their Week 2 game at Eagle Stadium.
He's taken a lot of butt whoopings at the hand of Allen, haven't you?
I have.
Joe?
Oh,
As
man.
if much of the rest of the
We're
state.
talking about losing 10. I know how it feels, Colleyville Heritage, because my playing a Wildcats, when it comes to Allen, that's usually the same story. But Allen doing what they always do, they like to schedule an elite program from out of state. They've won 5 straight against teams coming in out of state. Utah East, though, a school that they're dealing with a lot of injuries. They're on their 4th quarterback. They've already played 3 games.
Wow.
So Utah a little bit ahead of Texas in terms of how many high school games they've played to this point of the year. Utah East, they've won 2.
Wait, you said fourth
Quarterback.
My
so
goodness.
they're kind
he
of
a
really
true
having
freshman?
tryouts right now, and it's not a good thing to be doing tryouts at quarterback when you're taking on the best team in the state of Texas. I know you're a program that's upset De La Salle a few years ago. They've taken on the IMG Academy. I mean, they've played some of the best, but there's nothing quite like coming to the state of Texas and taking on an Allen team. Now, this Utah East bunch, offensively, they run a little bit of a triple option. So for Allen, I think having played Euless Trinity several times in the playoffs, that's going to be a nice measuring tool for them. They're used to defending that. So defensively, I think Allen will be prepared in this one. We talked about the injuries for Utah East. They also lost their starting running back to an ACL injury. So they're banged up. They do have a pretty darn good defense. They run a 4-2-5 defensively. They're led by 4-star recruit and LSU commit Apu Ika, 6'3", 350 pounds.
Can you say that one again?
Yeah.
Apu
When was it?
Ika.
It's pretty good.
Apu, yeah.
Did you look up that pronunciation?
Oh, well, okay, so his first name's Siaki, but I've read that everybody calls him Apu, and I like that, so we're just going to stick with Apu.
Okay.
Only his friends can call him that.
Well, we're on the friend level. I actually picked him up from the airport, gave him some Whataburger, so
very nice.
he's
There
one of
you
my
go.
guys.
You
now.
welcomed him to Texas
Whataburger
the
Friday Night
proper way.
Stars.
You know, the other thing I want to say about Utah East, they kind of remind me of that Georgia Tech offense that you only
Yes.
see once a season.
Sure.
And if you're not ready for it, you don't say discipline, they will upset you. So Hey, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. Not going to jump out the cake this
Okay,
week.
don't do it like you did last week.
I'm not going to do it.
Come on.
But all I'm saying is, hey, they got to stay disciplined, assignment football
Absolutely.
for Allen.
Well, and for Allen, they don't have their starting running back, Andrew Henry, tonight. He's out with a knee injury. So they're going to have a combination of sophomore running back Jordan Johnson and junior Keldon Manning. They're going to share the backfield duties. But for Allen, they're so deep. Even if they don't have their starting running back, and they were already replacing a Division I Arizona State back now, they'll be fine. They're 3 or 4 running backs deep in that rotation that would start really anywhere else in the state.
Still waiting for that game to kick off. Utah East and Allen.
I kind of wonder what it was like for Utah East. Now, I don't know how the high school stadiums in Utah are, but
I'm sure they're not Eagle Stadium.
I would imagine not. And so I wonder
by
how
no
it
means.
was for them showing up into Eagle Stadium today or tonight and just getting a look at that, a feel for that. I don't know if it was a little bit, starstruck a little bit, if it's an exciting time. You would imagine they'd have to be. But if they're a powerhouse in Utah, maybe they find themselves playing in a couple of stadiums, pro stadiums or college stadiums that would sort of compare, but you got to think that Allen Stadium is probably one of the biggest, most daunting ones they've set foot in.
Well, and for a lot of those Utah kids, this was their first time ever on an airplane. I mean, that's an inner city-based school. A lot of them come from underprivileged families. So these kind of out-of-state games, this is a huge deal for these kids. This is lifelong memories.
Yeah.
Coming up here to Texas. It's universally known Texas high school football is the best. It is the creme de la creme. So this is a big
And it doesn't
deal
get
for
much
these kids
better
from
in
Utah.
Texas high school football than Allen. And,
Oh, no.
and that's
No
definitely
doubt.
definitely
That's the cream of the
something that
crop.
they're going to have to look for.
Shame for
heading into
Utah, they
this
fly
fall
all
game.
this way to either get their butts whipped or to get the rain. The rain just cancels the
How
game.
about both?
Unfortunately. Yeah, it might be both.
that's true.
Very true. You're very, very right. But
I hope
another,
they got some Whataburger, though.
yeah, maybe.
they
Hey,
need
maybe that's one of the
Upa
pluses.
needs some Whataburger.
I thought
Yeah.
you said you got him some
He may
Whataburger.
stay if he gets some Whataburger.
He had some.
Okay, there you go.
He can stay for my team.
Another big time game and a big time team. Duncanville at South Oak Cliff. Heckma, I know you're excited about this one. Tell us about that matchup.
Guys, this is what we call an all-neighborhood game when you talk about Duncanville versus South Oak Cliff.
So Oak Cliff Super Bowl, baby.
No, not quite. There's
Not
another one.
quite.
for
That's
the
another
Oak
one. That's
Cliff.
on Saturday.
Yeah,
I
The
know.
AFC
I know.
Championship.
Exactly. So it's so for me, just giving you a little backdrop on this. Me and Coach Jason Todd from South Oak Cliff. I played football with him at Lincoln High School, both being coached by Reginald Samples. Jason Todd also coached with Coach Samples at Lincoln High School, Skyline, and Duncanville. And so it's like I said, a proverbial battle of student versus teacher.
Yeah.
And both of these teams are great. I mean, South Oak Cliff is an emerging program. Obviously, Duncanville is a team that's just trying to get around the curve to get to the state title. But I think this is going to be a wonderful game once it gets kicked off.
Think about Oak Cliff. They only had 47 yards passing last week.
Yeah.
Well, they played against a really tough defense in Skyline, so that was a defensive slugfest. It's interesting because you had Duncanville on the other side who offensively exploded against Lancaster, but also pitched a shutout. So these teams are all just going to play grinded out, big-time defense.
Yeah.
And it's really who's going to make the most turnovers to put your team in a success to have.
And you can see it up there with the final scores from last week. On the right side, you've got South Oak Cliff 10-7. Of course, they put up the 10 points, barely inched out a win there against in a defensive battle, which you don't see really a whole lot with the rain, with everything involved with tonight. I wouldn't expect that score to get very high, at least on
the thing
in
about
a
Duncanville
total.
is they have a plethora of
Yeah, they can break
of
it open.
athletes.
Yeah, they've got some
And
skills
so,
players.
Like I was talking about last week, Beeson is a guy that they just rotate on both sides of the ball. He could definitely, take the top off of offense and
put up some big numbers.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly right. And then one final of our highlighted games to look at, Jesuit and DeSoto. Eric DeSoto, number 14 team right now in the 6A ranks. They escaped last week in a big-time win. But now Jesuit, a little bit of revenge on their minds.
Yes, absolutely. Jesuit, man, they were probably the most disappointing. Can we all agree Jesuit was probably the most disappointing team week one?
One of them.
Look, I agree with you, but I think now we're starting to realize, that
Arlington's
team
a real
is for
deal.
real.
We'll talk about them in the next segment. But
yes,
yeah, Jesuit
I would agree
did
with
have
you.
a lead and then dropped that lead, and Arlington came back with a vengeance.
Yes. And DeSoto really slings it on offense. Their quarterback, Ward, I'm not totally sure how to pronounce his first name. Shandarian Ward, 357 yards, 3 touchdowns last week. Right now, they're in the first quarter. It's a 7-6 game. Jesuit is up. I think DeSoto is just about to kick an extra point, so maybe things are going to be all tied up at 7. This should be a really fun one. Jesuit gave up 627 yards of offense last week. They got to control the clock this week. I think you don't want that ball in DeSoto's hands too much. And E.J. Smith is the perfect guy to grind out a game for you. He didn't have a huge one last week. I think we're expecting a little more out of Jesuit as a team and out of Smith in general, 82 yards last week. But he's the kind of guy that you would love to get him going tonight. And bad weather, keep the ball away from DeSoto. That's their recipe for success if you're Jesuit.
Yeah. You know, when I thought about the game last week, Jesuit first half world beaters, what everybody thought they were going to be. Second half kind of fell apart. I'm sure they had a very tough week of practice in preparing for DeSoto today. And so you can see some of that paying off for them right now. Even though it's tied up, it looks like they still came out with a head of steam.
Look at E.J. Smith to try and have a big game today. Of course, Kevin Schumann also playing quarterback for Jesuit. Those two might combine and try and pick things up after a poor second half last week. Well, we're just getting underway here for Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger and powered by Game On Sports. One of the best things about Whataburger and Friday Night Stars is the fact that there are a lot of games. Each of the games that we just talked about, we have reporters at each single one of those games. And as they're starting to get kicked off, we're getting reports in. Now let's go to the Cotton Bowl, where Ashley Pickle tells us an update on Midway and Mansfield Lake Ridge.
All right, guys, after 2.5 very long hours of lightning delays and rain delays here at the Cotton Bowl, I was just standing with the officials of the Cotton Bowl, the refs, and the 2 head coaches from both Midway and Mansfield, and I'm happy to say that this game will be going on. So teams are able to take the field at 8:05, then they will have 10 minutes of warm-up, and then kickoff will start promptly at 8:15. I asked the Cotton Bowl officials if the following game between the Longhorns and the Denton Guyer Wildcats will be played, and they said as of right now that one is still on schedule too. As he said, they're trying to make everyone happy here tonight, so that'll be an extremely late kickoff if they end up going into that. So I will make sure to keep you updated, but for right now we're not done here at the Cotton Bowl. We will be here for that Waco Midway game and the Mansfield game.
Wow, thank you very much, Ashley.
That is shocking. That what time's that game going to kick off?
Well,
like
it was
midnight?
originally scheduled for 8:30. So it might not get kicked off until about 11:30.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
She
I'll
said
tell
2
you,
hours.
John Walsh coach team's crazy enough to get that game going.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they are. And if they do, we'll definitely tell you about it here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We've got Thursday night finals to get to. We've got players to watch, a record watch, and then we'll also talk about one of the worst injuries that could have happened to Texas high school football.
All right,
Jalen
guys, after
Catalon
2.5
out for the season for Mansfield Legacy, but we'll talk about that coming up here in just a moment. We're going to step aside right now. Whataburger Friday Night Stars presented by Game On Sports. We'll be right back in a moment.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. and the one he drinks now that rocks sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway,
And he scores!
it even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers, helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats, Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike, hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
Whataburger Friday Night Stars, bringing you Texas high school football from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're from Frisco, Texas, here in the Star. the headquarters to the Dallas Cowboys. Couple score updates for you real quickly. DeSoto 13 over Jesuit right now, who has 7 at the start of the second quarter. Jesuit threatening, though. They're on the 13-yard line of the DeSoto Eagles and driving toward the end zone. They have a first down there. Potentially could punch one in. Then also an update from Southlake. Our reporter Nick Laupius let us know that 8:45 is the start time right now for that Southlake game as they take on Colleyville Heritage. But guys, a lot of games last night that were big time, maybe in terms of the teams in it, but in terms of the actual results, some blowout games, impressive wins on some sides, and then also the other sides, some different games or some games that maybe not going in favor, and there's a lot of things to fix. The first one, I'll start off with Mansfield Legacy 39, Crowley 7 from Vernon Newsom Stadium. Mansfield Legacy ended up putting it on Crowley, 457 total yards compared to 175. You look at the stats there, just a dominating game for Mansfield Legacy, and they did it without Jalen Catalon.
Man, doing it without Jalen Catalon. First of all, such a shame with him. We talked about him last week. He's one of our top players to watch in Texas high school football, one of the best football players in the entire country. And he went down last week during our show. We weren't sure the extent of that injury. We know now that that is an ACL tear, did some meniscus stuff too. Unfortunately, that's going to end his season. But what a way to show out for Mansfield Legacy. You're without your best player. You come out on a Thursday night, and man, you put it on Crowley.
Yeah.
Yeah, really kudos to senior quarterback Cam Clark. He stepped in. Jalen Catalon, we talked about a lot of what he does on the defensive side of the ball. You, Eric, I know you focused on him as a safety. That's what he'll play at the next level, but he also was the starting quarterback for Legacy. So it was how would they come back? Sam Clark kind of riding the ship. But, people forget, as big of a name as Jalen Catalon is, this is a Legacy team that's got massive talent across the defensive side of the football. Enoch Jackson, an outstanding defensive lineman going to Arkansas. Torian Carter along that defensive line has multiple offers at the D1 level. And then you got Jeffrey Carter at the back end at defensive back, who played alongside Jalen Catalon. How scary is that? He's going to Texas A&M. So this is a Legacy squad. Maybe their state championship aspirations. In reality, they're not going to say so. But from the outside looking in, what we do as a media member, we can say, yeah, I don't know that they're going to go ahead and win a state title, but they should still make the playoffs and go on a deep run.
I think so, too. I think they got enough talent to at least make a run in that district, and or at least in the playoffs as well for Mansfield Legacy. And then looking at another team that looks like one of the world beaters right now, Arlington and the Colts. Big time win last night, Eric.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Big time win on my old stomping grounds. They were at NISD Stadium.
Yeah.
Now, they were not playing my Northwest Texans. They were playing Byron Nelson.
Okay.
But, man, what a game this was. Thursday night, what a show that they put on for the NISD fans. Arlington wins 37-34, but they had to rally. They were down 27-17 at halftime. And then my boy, Jahari Rogers, man, what a game. What a game he had. It seems to be really just another day for Rogers. 439 total yards, 3 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was a 52-yard touchdown pass to tie the game at 34. And then, man, another kicker doing his thing. Griffin Kell kicked the game winner with from 29 yards out, 34 seconds left in the game. Arlington wins it, and Kyron White also sealed the victory with an interception with 5 seconds left in the game. But, man, credit to Arlington. Rogers, what a monster he is from the quarterback position, throwing and running all over the place. And Griffin Kell, man, these kickers. We saw it last week. Caden Davis over there at Coppell.
Yeah.
And now Arlington, game-winning field goal. Props to them.
Yeah, Rogers is definitely Mr. Everything for them. Guy went off, had a big night last night.
Yeah, you look at this Arlington squad in general, ranked number 9 right now in 6A, but they're kind of a team that's a little bit forgotten about. It's not necessarily a team that you look at and like, hey, watch out for the Arlington Colts, like you might say about a Mansfield Legacy or an Allen or a team like that in those respective divisions. But they're really showing right now with Rogers at quarterback, a converted wide receiver to quarterback. They've got some talent there. And watch out for the Colts. That's a team that might make some noise. Really, they've already made some noise, but they might continue to do so throughout the rest of the regular season. Heckma, tell me about this Denton-Frisco Lone Star game. We've definitely kept an eye on Lone Star for quite some time, but they laid a beat down just across the highway and the tollway at Toyota Stadium.
So yesterday, guys, as I'm checking these scores, right, I see Lone Star pull up, and I see the score pull up, and it says Frisco, Denton. I think automatically Denton Ryan. So I jump out of bed and I'm like, oh my God. We got something to talk about tomorrow. And so then I realized Denton, like Frisco, has about 4 different high schools as well. And so then I calmed down and I realized, all right, no, it's not the Denton I thought it was.
Well, Frisco's got about 100 high schools.
Yeah, well, they're conduced to smaller learning environments. That's how they like to sell it.
So, I mean, but again, a game that was played at not Pizza Hut Park, Toyota. Exactly.
Toyota
Stadium. But a rain out as well. Yesterday here in Frisco, it poured buckets. So that field was completely wet. Fortunately for those guys, there's a soccer team that plays there. So good drainage on the field, right?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, did not stop the stomping that happened yesterday at the Toyota Stadium. Seth McGowan went off. He had a pretty good game. He's not Seth McGowan. I got my notes mixed up here, guys. All right, so Julian Larry, quarterback. Julian Larry went off yesterday, passed for a ton of yards. Quinn Maloney went off yesterday as well, 440 yards. Defense basically pitched a shutout, didn't allow a ton of yards at all. 6 points for Denton, but again, they cruised 51-6 yesterday.
Look at the rushing comparison between those two squads. 369 yards for Lone Star compared to 38.
And they shut him down.
Wow.
I got a guy I want to tell y'all about.
Okay. He doesn't want to tell.
Oh, you're not telling us right now?
Good now.
Oh, that's a nice little teaser there.
We are going to players to watch later in the show. So
gotcha.
We'll see.
I got somebody.
I see what you're thinking.
Denton's going through a little bit of a remodel, though. Their head coach, Kevin Atkinson's now at Flower Mound Marcus. This is their second year under a new regime, and they've got a young squad. Landry Kinney, I believe, is their quarterback there. He started as a true freshman, entering his sophomore season. So when you're playing a Lone Star squad that's as talented and as loaded as they are, I didn't know it would be that lopsided, but I expected Denton to struggle a little bit.
And that's one of the big things in a team that maybe you didn't expect to struggle yesterday. Definitely did struggle against a team that a lot of people may have been overlooking after their week 1 loss to Denton Ryan. Waxahachie, Mesquite Poteet. Zach, were you surprised as I was?
Yeah.
Because I was just blown away by this final score.
Flabbergasted?
Absolutely flabbergasted.
Yeah, well, coming into the night, Waxahachie, they entered 15th ranked in the area in the 6A polls, and then Mesquite Poteet comes in 9th, and the final score was Mesquite Poteet 48.
Oh, my goodness.
And poor Waxahachie, those Indians, 7. It was really all 3 phases victory here for the Moteet Pirates. Their defense was absolutely outstanding. I believe they forced 3 interceptions in the first half of this game. Always had good field position. They returned a punt for a touchdown. Their special teams unit returned a big kickoff that set them up with a short field offensively. And we know they've got a lot of firepower on offense. You mentioned Seth McGowan, one of the most outstanding running backs in the area. 19 carries, 118 yards, 4 touchdowns for Seth McGowan. Dalton Dale, through the year, didn't have to do much. Just 4 of 9, 120 yards and a touchdown. Also did have a pair of interceptions, which you think might have been able to keep Waxahachie in this thing. But Poteet's defense, man, they shut out the Indians for 3 quarters until the game was out of reach. They put some second, third teamers in there, get some reps. They gave up their first touchdown, but an absolutely dominant performance by the Poteet Pirates. Head coach Cody Groves has to be very, very happy after that loss to Denton Ryan. And it kind of makes you wonder, one, how good is Waxahachie? 0-2. They played Ennis last week.
Well, they're 1-1 now.
1-1 now. They played Ennis last week, got a win there, and then you lose to Poteet. But then you look at the flip side, Ryan, who's playing Keller Falls Original, losing right now. How good does that make Ryan's defense look? But it's just a week-to-week thing you never quite know in Texas high school football.
Yeah, things can happen out of nowhere, and you never really know which way it could go. And that's one of the fun things about Friday Night Stars, of course. And then one other game we've got to get to from last night. It was actually just across the way, down the hallway from us here at the Star. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Colony and Frisco Reedy. This one was a good one last night and included some outstanding highlight plays. You look at the Colony, that's a team that came in last night 1-0, was really an excited team. Same thing with Frisco Reedy. A lot of people sleeping on Reedy. They scored early. The ground game was definitely going for Frisco Reedy early on. They finished with 153 total yards on the ground compared to the Colony, who only had 48. But the passing games was really what stood out. 283 total yards passing for the Colony, 262 for Frisco Reedy. You look at this play. This happened with 9 seconds left. in the second quarter. Big time broken tackle, takes it all the way to the house just before the end of the half. And then this one ended up on SportsCenter. Look at that play. Oof. One-handed in the back of the end zone, got both feet down.
Wow.
SportsCenter top 10.
What a catch.
Not an exaggeration. It was on ESPN. Then 21-17, under 5 to play in the third quarter. Reedy punches it in. Big time play there. And then you look at the stats there at the end of the third again. They get it back over the top of the entire defense. That's a tight end, boys.
The tight ends are not dead, fellas.
That's a big boy.
He gone.
Gosh, what a monster.
Rumble, big man, rumble.
He gone. Oh, it stopped at the 1 yard line.
Stopped at the one. Hey, don't worry.
Oh, my gosh.
Start of the fourth quarter, they punch it in with the QB draw all the way to the goal line. Frisco Reedy ends up winning this game, and then big block punt to seal the deal with 4:10 left in the ball game. Ends up as a safety. Final score, Frisco Reedy taking it 33-24. That was a Colony team, guys.
Man. A lot of offense.
Exactly right. That yardage was definitely there. Maybe not for the Colony rushing wise, but that's a Colony team that I thought would maybe come in and really stomp Reedy. I didn't give Reedy enough credit. They've got some big time athletes. Made a big time play late in the game with the throw over the top of the defense. Tie ball game. Get it to your tight end. Let him do the work. And Reedy ends up winning that game 33-24. Good game here from the Star. So those are the Thursday finals from Texas high school football. I was about to say Friday night Stars, but that was really Thursday night Stars.
Yeah, Thursday night. Can you imagine being that kid, though? You make an Odell Beckham-style touchdown catch.
Unbelievable
and
play.
He's gone viral now. Everybody knows who he is.
You wake up next morning, you see Scott Van Pelt's talking about you on SportsCenter, throwing up the top 10 plays. Gosh, what a cool feeling that would
that's
be.
awesome. And like you said, I mean, both these teams very highly regarded in the 5A rankings with Reedy and the Colony. The Colony's been a pretty good program in recent years. Look at this guy. Boom.
There it is.
Go up there and moss it, big fella. One-handed, over the shoulder.
Now, is
the
that
ability to get that's an NFL touchdown.
Oh, it's an NFL touchdown. Now, is it a Moss or is it a Beckham?
I would probably consider that a Beckham.
I'm not going to call anything a Beckham.
Well, you just don't want to call it that because it happened against the Cowboys. Man, he is excited.
Look at
after
that excitement,
play.
dude. Oh,
just
he
keeps
knows.
going.
I'm going to be on SportsCenter.
That's when you go take the pom-poms like T.O.
He's like, Mama, I made it.
He brings out the Michigan State kicker move.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he knows.
Oh, and he's
That's exciting right there.
He's repping the
Juiced, he's fired up.
Gosh, what a cool feeling.
He had an awesome
man.
game. I mean, you look at his finishing stat line. He was absolutely unbelievable. 7 catches, 171 yards, and 2 scores. Awesome night for Keith Miller.
He had a Moss-like game.
He probably should retire. I don't know that anything better is going to happen.
He's wearing Michael Irvin's number 88. I mean, this dude knows what he's doing.
The only thing that would have been better is if his team would have gotten the win.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Way to just come in here and just
I'm sorry.
just crap on that
downer.
dude's play. What are
Frisco
you doing,
Reedy,
man? Unbelievable.
Okay, are you just completely throwing what Frisco Reedy did?
No,
that's a great
but
game.
that play is what stole the night. The nation knows about that play. The nation does not know who won that game, but they do know who made that play.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Guys, let's go through some of these predictions that we have real quick. Not anything crazy. Starting off with Ennis and Skyline. Eric, we'll start with you.
2 0-1 teams trying to get the first victory of the season. Skyline at home. Now, their loss to Oak Cliff last week snapped a 32-game win streak over Dallas ISD schools, so that's sort of a shame there for Skyline. But their dual-threat quarterback, K-State commit, Velton Garner. He's more than just an awesome first name. Velton. Come on, boys. Velton. Is that not just an incredible – I've never heard that name. It's an awesome name. He's going to –
Velton's a good name, yeah.
He's going to K-State. It's an awesome name. And I think they get back on track to that. I think Gardner has himself a good night, and the NS defense, man, they gave up 54 points last week. So give me Skyline at home behind Velton, the greatness of Velton.
Yeah, Velton's a Kansas State commit, and I completely agree with you. I love his versatility, his ability to run and throw. And defensively, you got some big-time studs on that defensive side of the ball as well for Skyline, with Cameron Farrar going to Colorado, Kane Bradford, an Arizona commit. On the other side for Ennis, I kind of talked about it last week. I think this is a team searching for their identity right now. Mm-hmm. You know what Sam Harrell wants to do, and that's kind of spread it out and throw the football, and they're kind of a power-run team. I think Skyline at home, they get that victory as well.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to say is probably Ennis's. This is a team they definitely should beat, but don't think they will. That Velton kid is awesome. Obviously, K-State's commit. definitely has my heart with him. But
that's right.
Yeah.
Heckma's
one
a
of the
K-State
schools,
Wildcat.
one of the schools
one of
I
like
went
the
to.
100 schools
Yeah,
you
one of the
went
schools
at
I
and
went to.
dominated it, by the way.
So,
Google
definitely,
Heckma, man. YouTube highlights galore.
So they just shared him week to week. It was Kansas State over here 1 week, Oklahoma the
Come
next.
on, guys. Come on, guys. But yeah, man, definitely. I'm going to take Skyline in that game.
You guys are all wrong.
Wrong?
Ennis is going to pull this game
going
out.
with Ennis.
Going
Oh,
with
right.
Ennis today. I think Ennis is going to win it. Mansfield at Arlington Bowie. Heckma will switch it around, going that way. Who you got?
I'm going to go Mansfield. Don't know a lot about this. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I got this, I was like, all right, better hurry up and do some homework. I'm just going to go with Mansfield on this one, guys.
Okay.
Don't have a lot.
On the road.
Yes.
Mansfield
Yeah.
on the road. All right.
It's hard to imagine a Mansfield program that's been so consistent and dominant the last few years going 0-2. But I like Arlington Bowie. This was kind of my under the radar team for this year to make some noise. I'm a fan of what they've got going on. Ty DeArmond is a versatile player, an Arizona State commit. They're really good on both sides of the line of scrimmage at home. This one just got underway. It's scoreless here early, but I'm going to take the Vols at home.
Yeah. I'm going with Bowie as well. I think they win the trenches, man. They got Thalen Robinson on the offensive line. Their head coach thinks he can play on Sundays. This dude's an absolute animal. And then they also got a stud defensive lineman, Antonio Greer, who's probably going to wreak some havoc on that Mansfield offense. I just think, man, Mansfield lost a lot of talent offensively, and their offensive line is so young that I think the trenches are where this game gets won and lost, and Bowie wins that battle. So give me Arlington Bowie.
I agree with both of you guys. I think Arlington Bowie is going to take this one. Rowlett at Rockwall. Yeah, you're all alone on that one.
All that research you did, Heckma?
Yeah, I know. I mean,
He's confident.
all
Heckma's
gone,
confident. man.
That's okay. Do what
He
you got to
knows
do.
that Mansfield
Hey,
team like the back of his hand, bro.
Daniel Mayberry, the coach for Mansfield, awesome guy.
Okay.
We'll see that package again. We played it last week. We'll play that later as well.
Oh, that was fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Rockwall at Rowlett, or actually Rowlett at Rockwall.
That's
I'm going to
right.
take the Yellow Jackets. I think Rockwall wins it after losing a close one at Highland Park last week.
Yeah, same here. Coming off a tough loss last week. Remember the light delay that kind of threw the whole team through a loop, probably. But they're at home now, and man, Rowlett does have a good quarterback. Chase Tupal last week, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. But Rockwall at home, they played a good Highland Park last team and gave them all they had. I think at home, first home game of the season. Give me Rockwall.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, guys. For me, because I would say this is another all neighborhood game. All right,
Yeah, I mean,
Rowlett.
they play every year, I think.
Friends
out of
and
district,
family.
right?
Absolutely. Everybody in the whole town is in Rockwall right now. But Rockwall is a team that comes in every year nationally, recognized nationally, but always ranked in state. Great coaching, great players all the time, but still, Rowlett Eagles, I think with the quarterback that they had last week, he had a monster game. Coming into this game, doesn't see anything. I don't think that they'll lose this game, so I'm going Rowlett.
Yeah, it's the Battle of Lake Ray Hubbard, I think is what they call it.
Is that what you got?
Both these teams over 40 points last week. This should be an offensive bonanza. We'll see what the weather has in
Bonanza.
store. But I'm going to go with Rockwall. I agree with you guys. I'm a big Jacob Clark fan. I got to see him play last week in that season opener against Highland Park. The dude is the real deal. Going to Minnesota. Rowlett kept this one close last year. I think Rockwall came back, hit a game winner, and won that one 34-32. But man, I think Rockwall's just got too much offense this year.
You going Rockwall?
Rockwall.
Clean sweep?
Yeah, it's nothing but you.
Okay.
Heck,
You're
going
Rowlett,
man.
You're Rowlett by yourself.
You hang out
here.
there. My predictions are sure to go wrong every single week. So
Yep, that's probably
And
right.
dude,
Rowlett's
and
probably
you're
gonna
on
win
a
this
roll with that Mesquite Horn pick you had last
know,
week over
yeah,
Elson.
you're
You're not
You
gonna
really
let-
are
you're
on
not
a
going to
roll,
let me
man.
live that
Pretty
down,
good.
are you?
never.
Coppell at LD Bell. Let's quickly wrap this up. I'm going to take Coppell and the Cowboys. Eric, who you got?
Yeah, give me Coppell. LD Bell's got good skill positions, but they're too young on the offensive and defensive line, and that Coppell defensive line has tremendous depth. Give me Coppell.
Yeah, Coppell should absolutely run away with this one. I really don't think this is going to be a close game.
Wow.
Coppell has the best kicker, right?
Yeah, I am
Caden
disrespecting.
Davis, baby.
Hey,
All
Caden
right,
Davis.
so I'm going to go with the kicker.
Actually,
Caden
great point
Davis.
by Heckma. The only reason why Coppell's for sure going to win this
Because of
game
Caden
is
Davis.
Caden Davis.
There you
He
go.
had probably the best week in the history of anyone ever.
Probably.
I would think.
Ever.
Anyone ever?
I think.
How long is the field goal this week?
He definitely got a homecoming date, locked it up in the bag. I don't know how young
He's the
he is.
homecoming king.
He's,
What are
I
you
was going to
talking
say,
about?
he will be the
What do
king
you
of
mean?
Going to
homecoming.
A
Texas
date?
A&M.
Well,
as a
hey,
Division
how
I
about
commit.
this?
I mean, come on.
Coppell across the board. Let's talk about the team they beat because of Caden Davis last week.
Oh,
Ooh,
Saxy.
Saxy. Let's get a little Saxy, boys.
They're hanging on. They're playing.
Saxy
at
has a big
home.
problem.
Yeah, at home against Euless
tremendous
Trinity.
problem. Yes.
Yeah,
It doesn't get much easier.
Brandon Theus is about to run the ball right down Saxy's throat. I mean, you look at what Euless Trinity did against Waco Midway. I didn't think that game would be a 30-point differential.
But it was.
And that is exactly what it was, Kyle, not to bring that up. And then for
thanks,
Coppell, and this is a Saxy team, and I like Coppell. This is a Saxy team that I think is going to give Trinity more than they bargained for in terms of what they did last week, but I don't think they can stop the run. I mean, I know they got Hunter Spears, one of your guys. They got a really good linebacker.
My guy, not your guy, Walchuk.
Hunter Spears is all your guy. He's your guy. You can have him. Bryce Robinson's a really good linebacker as well for Saxy, but I don't think it's going to be enough to hold down.
Yeah.
Trojans.
And Saxy coming off that heartbreaker to emotionally rebound from that when you thought you had the victory in your grasp. That's a tough one to rebound from. So give me Trinity. I think they control the running game and the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, this is an easy one, especially with all the rain and everything. Theus is going to run it down. I mean, it's not going to be
This game's
close.
tomorrow, correct?
Yes, this is a tomorrow game.
Yeah, at the Cotton Bowl. At the Cotton Bowl.
Big time Cotton Bowl game, and that might be the only game tomorrow. But you never know because Denton Guyer and oh my gosh, I don't know how Denton Guyer and Cedar Hill are going to play tomorrow or play tonight.
Well, it'll be over tomorrow.
I think it will be over.
When it's all said and done, we'll be eating breakfast when they get done.
All the way till 1 a.m. when that one wraps up.
We might have to.
I'm here for the long haul, boys.
We might have to.
I bought a sleeping bag. I love slumber parties.
There you go. Well, we'll talk about that game. We'll update the games that have been kicked off. Quite a few of them are now getting underway as the weather is starting to clear in the North Texas area. We'll be back with a little bit more Friday Night Stars presented by Whataburger, powered by Game On Sports, here in just a moment.
You came to me on the one.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
Shoots, and he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the #2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players, to run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
The scene at the Cotton Bowl earlier this afternoon. Midway and Mansfield Lake Ridge just huddling in the tunnel trying to avoid the rain and the thunderstorms. But boys, that game is finally underway. So are a lot of other games in the area as we welcome you back to the Star in Frisco. Kyle Yeomans, Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo bringing you Whataburger Friday Night Stars powered by Game On Sports Productions. And boys, a lot of games to get to. We talked about our highlighted games, some of which that are not necessarily underway just yet, but a lot of which that are underway. Eric, or Zach, actually, we're going to start with you. Keller, Fossil Ridge, Denton Ryan underway in Denton.
Yeah, third quarter of that one. This one's tied at 10, boys. And Billy Bowman Jr. of Denton Ryan just took a 37-yard interception return for a touchdown.
Oh, wow.
Another week, special teams and defense is telling the story for these Ryan Raiders. I know Coach Hennigan, the hay's in the barn. He's going to win it any way he can. This is an offense that's trying to figure things out. Their passing attack is not there. They can run the ball on the ground with Amani Bailey. But credit Fossil Ridge. They're trying to hang into this thing. They had a big play. I think it was right before the half there in the second quarter. It was an 88-yard touchdown pass. Scotty Coles from Jalen Hurst to make that one 10-3. And then, of course, that pick six got Ryan back in this thing to tie it up. So that defense doing everything they can to put the team on their back.
Just underway in that third quarter. Some other games that have not kicked off yet. Well, Colleyville Heritage and South Lake Carroll, Heckma, not necessarily underway just yet.
8:45 kickoff, weather delay. So both of these teams, you got to know that they're both chomping at the bit to get on the field and get this on, because this is a big, rivalry game. And if I know Joe Willis, this 10-0 stuff has got to stop tonight.
You know Joe Willis, and we all know Joe Willis because he called into the show last week.
You're darn right he did.
Big fan of the show.
I think we're on a first-name basis with Joe at this point, man.
Right at the end of the show as well. And then, Eric, we were talking earlier about the Midway and Mansfield Lake Ridge game as well. This Mansfield Lake Ridge Midway game, is that underway just yet?
Yeah, it is underway. They're at the Cotton Bowl finally. I mean, my gosh, this game got delayed by about 3 hours. And Lake Ridge is coming out strong. First quarter, 2.5 minutes left. They're up 10-0 thanks to a Chandler Rogers 15-yard touchdown and a Tabor Allen 20-yard field goal. So 10-0, Lake Ridge is up.
Lake Ridge 10-0 already on Midway?
That is correct.
My goodness. That Midway team who lost last week to Euless Trinity also in trouble right now against Mansfield Lake Ridge. That's a team that was in the state championship game a year ago. Now, potentially going to go down 0-2. Don't count Midway out just yet. They could potentially fight their way back into it.
Tough way to start the season, though, for Midway.
It is
man.
a tough way to start the season.
Well,
2 big-time games.
Well, you're also traveling. You got to wonder that delay, too. I mean, this is a game that was supposed to start at 5 or 5:30. So you're talking about, 3 hours before they get that thing going? I mean, that's tough for a team, especially when you make that drive. You're expecting to play. Now you got to sit around for another 3 hours. I'm sure they probably had to eat in between.
Right.
Maybe they were trying to order some pizzas like the Texas Longhorns were doing in Maryland.
I actually got word they made a team trip to Whataburger.
Good for them.
There it is.
Yeah. And they ran into one of those Utah East players. What was his name again?
Apu?
Apu was
Apu
in line.
was there.
Like, Apu,
What a day.
What the heck, Apu? What do you got a game, bro? He said, "Hey, dude, this Whataburger's got me."
I don't have to play till tomorrow morning. We're kicking off at 7
They don't have
a.m.
none
now.
of these in Utah. That's for
Gosh,
sure.
you got to love it. Utah East at Allen. Why not? Let's check in with that one. Zach, is that one underway yet? I don't believe it has kicked
No,
off.
I don't think that one's kicked off yet. We actually have Saji Adam out there reporting on that one, so maybe we can check in with Saji here relatively soon, and he can give us an update on when that one should be ready to go.
What about Jesuit and DeSoto, Eric? How's that one going?
Oh, this is a fun one, boys. It's 20-10 right now. DeSoto's up. They are currently 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Unfortunately, they have a little bit of lightning delay action. So we talked about it. We were hoping.
Lightning.
We
Thor
were
is
hoping.
angry, or he's the god of thunder. They go hand in hand, right?
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Actually, I'm pretty sure thunder is lightning. It's just the sound. It's the
lightning
delayed sound
the
of
thunder,
lightning.
You guys are good.
So is this a thunder delay?
This is a this would be considered a thunder/lightning delay. And they've been playing Imagine Dragons Thunder for the last half
favorite
hour.
kind of delay. I do have an update,
You
boys.
prefer weather over light delay, like what happened at Highland Park last week?
Oh man,
Yeah, I mean, I
You
prefer
at least want to
like,
know that the gods are in
when
control of
Mother
it, not the
Nature's
electrician.
yeah,
right?
when Mother Nature's affecting it, I prefer that kind of delay over some power outage because they hadn't.
Goodness, Zach, just get to your update.
It feels more organic when
We
it's
got
the weather. I
Arlington
do
Bowie
agree.
Mansfield coming at you. Who do you think's up, boys?
Bowie.
Bowie?
Because I picked him.
Ding, ding, ding. Correcto
Yes.
mundo. 7-0.
There you go.
The Arlington Bowie Volunteers are up. A 2-yard touchdown run. Marcelius Sims got them on the board early. This baby towards the end of the first quarter. And Bowie with the football again. And they are driving at the Mansfield 26-yard line, trying to tack on some extra points to pad that lead.
Heckma called it.
The Heckma did call it. Big time.
I love
Mansfield's
you guys.
there, baby. Mansfield's knocking on the door.
Grapevine is also up on Abilene Cooper 21-6 as we speak. Another travel game there. Abilene Cooper coming up to take on Grapevine. That's a Grapevine program in 5A. Don't sleep on them. They're pretty darn good. Alan Bowman, by the way, a freshman at Texas Tech, had to step in and start there. So the Grapevine Mustangs, they're playing some D1 college ball.
Feeling pretty good right now in Grapevine. And another team that's feeling good right now is Duncanville. Heckma, give us an update on Duncanville and
Look,
South Oak Cliff.
Like I said, my all-neighborhood game is a tough one out there at Kincaid Stadium in Oak Cliff. 7-0. Duncanville is up on South Oak Cliff with a 26-yard run, guys, by my man here. Don't want to mispronounce his name for all his family members that are looking.
Put some
Listen
respect on that name,
Mr.
Heckma.
Javon Fontaine. I'm not call him Javon Fountain. It's got to be Fontaine. But
Fontaine!
26 yards run with 4 minutes and 44 seconds left in the first quarter. He got loose, and still defensive struggle. Not a lot of offense at all in this game besides that one run, guys.
Wow. Big time game so far for Fontaine. I like it. That's awesome. Another game, we've already talked about it and given it an update, but by the time the segment has already been over, that's how quickly it's turned around. Denton Ryan, who was originally down 10-3, is now leading 17-10. It took them 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Wow, we got to figure out how they got that second touchdown because they tied it at 10 with a pick six.
Exactly.
How the heck did they score again? Tell me it was another defensive touchdown, Walchuk.
Do you want it to be?
Give me the good news, Walchuk.
Billy Bowman Jr., 54-yard pick six to the
Two in a row?
Two back-to-back.
Wow.
Two back. Billy Bowman Jr., who last year was an outstanding receiver for this team. They're playing
That's why
now
he's making
on
the catches.
defense. Coach Hennigan, a guy, he's like, I'm going to get my best players out there. In that state semifinal, they put Gabe Douglas, who is their all-state wide receiver, to take on Cade Sostad at corner out there. Man, they'll put it out there any way that they can. Big-time defense. I'm telling you, this is a Ryan team. Their offense is not good right now. They're trying to find their way, but if their defense is going to go out there and have pick six after pick six, they're going to be just fine.
That's a good Fossil Ridge team that you could potentially get a win over, a 6A win over, of course, Denton Ryan at the 5A level. And now you look at that moving forward without your offense at 100%, that could be a scary Denton Ryan team again heading into the playoffs.
Scary for any offense, that is for sure.
What is crazy is Scotty Cole's the quarterback for Keller Fossil Ridge. He's got 3 incompletions. He's 7 of 10. Pretty darn efficient so far. 159 yards, a touchdown, but 2 of those 3 incompletions, interceptions that were returned for that for a touchdown.
Unbelievable. Well, look
shooting
at the score.
themselves in the foot
Absolutely.
in that game, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They're upset, but hey, and that's a rivalry for these kids. Maybe not so much since they haven't played. This is since 2015, so 3 years ago, but a lot of history there.
How cool is that? Ryan has a total of 47 yards and 17 points.
It's unreal.
You look at that and you think to yourself, what the heck?
They're losing that game.
Yes. Well, now when you see they got 17 points, only 47 yards, like, good night. They must have special teams, defense doing something. What's that defense, man? That defense is killing it.
It's definitely stepping up. Zach, run through the rest of these 6A scores for us, at least the ones that have kicked off, and those that have not kicked off, give us an update on those as well.
Well, first of all, here is this page refreshes. That's kind of the thing when you've got so many games going at once. It's going to take us a second to get these things going. But we go through 6A. Arlington, Lamar, Garland, Naaman, Forest. They just got underway. They're scoreless. We talked about Ryan and Fossil Ridge 17-10. How about Flower Mound Marcus bouncing back nicely, 14-0. They're up on McKinney Boyd.
Marcel Brooks, baby. Marcel Brooks.
Oh yeah, Marcel Brooks. That one's about halfway through the first quarter. Prosper's up 14-7 on Keller Timber Creek, but another one of those Keller teams in action. Holtham up on Fort Worth Pascal. 10-0.
I think they pronounce that Haltom.
Is it Haltom? Haltom, like a Hall Tom?
Yeah.
Hall Tom?
Walking down the hall.
I probably wouldn't emphasize the Tom as much.
It's more Tum, yeah.
Like a Haltom.
Less tongue.
Less what?
Never mind.
Okay. DeSoto and Jesuit. DeSoto's up 20-10 on Jesuit right now. By the way, Jesuit in the red zone. They're at the 7-yard line going in. McKinney up 7-3 on Irving Mack. Rowlett and Rockwell, we're still waiting to get started. Austin Lake Travis. Lake Travis again. They're here in the DFW area. They're taking on Mansfield Summit. They're up 7-0. Duncanville, you already told us, Heckma. They're up 7-0 right now. And Arlington Bowie up 7-0 right now as well over Mansfield. So that's kind of where we're at 6A. Still waiting for a lot of games here to kick off early. But Hebron and Arlington Martin, a game that we kind of didn't talk about earlier. That's a game between two good teams. Trajan Bridges, the outstanding receiver for Hebron, they're up 7-0 right now in Arlington Martin. Martin's a team that's also trying to bounce back after getting whooped on by Lake Travis last week. And Coppell and LD Bell. We all took Coppell around. They are driving right now. They're at the LD Bell 17-yard line. That one just started. I think they had a big return to open that game. And South Grand Prairie, Northwest Eaton. Eaton, 2 really good running backs, headlined by Titus Swen. South Grand Prairie trying to come back after losing week 1 to South Lake Carroll. That game is tied at 7, but SGP with the ball and on the move at the Eaton 32-yard line. And that Lake Ridge Midway game, just a quick update there as well. 10-0, Lake Ridge up on Midway.
Swin, that running back for Eaton, man, he's kind of a
Titus Swen. He is an absolute stud. And they've actually moved him. I was reading in practice now. They're playing him at slot receiver. They have another running back there that's outstanding. They're moving Titus Swen around. They're playing him a little bit of slot. He reminds me of a Tavon Austin, man, but he runs with a purpose. He's got violent intentions.
And he is so stinking fast.
Yes,
Truly
he is.
one of the fastest guys I've seen at the high school level. I mean, the dude is an absolute burner.
Yeah,
My
I mean, I got to call, it was Eaton and Denton Braswell. It was the inaugural game 2 years ago with both those teams. Now, Eaton had a little bit of an advantage. They played some JV ball, but it was their first varsity football game, and they went to the playoffs year 1. I mean, that is an Eaton program that has everything to succeed there, and they're producing on the football field right now.
Yeah, that's one of the surprise schools, or at least newer schools program-wise, but has also shown some talent in terms of producing some individuals and really team football.
And that's not an easy thing to do when you're just getting started. You start out and you don't even have any seniors on your team, and for them to make the playoffs in year 1, that's pretty spectacular stuff out of Eaton.
Yeah, no, big time stuff out of Eaton for sure. Looking at some of these other games, we'll update them as they come through in terms of score-wise. But, guys, I want to run through just really quickly some of your players to watch. There's some players that we have highlighted throughout really the entire season that we want to look at. We'll talk about Jalen Catalan. I know that was a guy who all 4 of us had highlighted. He is done for the year. We'll go in-depth with that later on throughout the show. But, Eric, we'll start with you in terms of players to watch for this season. Who's your guy?
Well, right now, Jalen Catalan was one of them. Last week, I talked about Marcel Brooks, outside linebacker, going to LSU. He's over there at Flower Marcus. This week, I got a guy for you. He's playing in the trenches, and boy, does he have a tough matchup tomorrow against Trinity. This is the Saxy defensive end. His name is Hunter Smith. He's going to Notre Dame, and this dude, he's an animal. I mean, he's big enough to play on the inside, but he's quick enough and got enough pass rush moves. They put him at defensive end, so they can move him around quite a bit. He's got a tough matchup tomorrow at the Cotton Bowl, 1:30 kickoff against Trinity. We know how those guys play. They are maulers. They are going to run the ball, and he's going to have to really step up big tomorrow. But this dude, man, you turn on the tape of this guy, he throws linemen around. He's strong as heck. Now, he's coming off an injury from last season, but when you're coming off an injury and you're still committed to Notre Dame, you know this dude's put on some good tape in the past. So he's coming off that injury, but I think he's due for a big season and hopefully a big game tomorrow against a tough matchup against Trinity.
Looking at some of these other games, and I mean, you look at Trinity and the way they were able to dominate against Waco Midway last week. It's a tough game to try and fill in and put up the numbers like you want from an individual like that. Zach, who is your player to watch?
I'm going to Taps, boys, because Taps has some good football recruits as well. And I love me some tight ends. Egma, we were talking about the fullback, the tight end, kind of the old school.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want fullbacks going anywhere. And I don't want tight ends going anywhere. But now we've kind of transitioned to the big receiving tight end, kind of like we just saw there from Frisco Reedy, that big boy that was rumbling home. I'm going Austin Stogner, the tight end from Prestonwood, one of the best recruits in this area. Big, 6'6", 230 pounds, committed to Oklahoma, and they are thrilled to have him. This dude has elite size, runs very, very well for his size, really big red zone threat as he should be at 6'6", natural hands, always kind of where he needs to be. He's a really good route runner. He's bigger than most kids, so he's good at using that size to box people out, shield defenders from the football, solid blocker. Talked about his route running last week, 3 catches, 46 yards against Wiley. And that's a Taps team in Prestonwood going up against the 6A squad in the Wiley Pirates, averaging 15.3 yards a catch for Austin Stogner. Right now, Prestonwood actually up on Norcross Greater Atlanta. That's another private school that's coming to town to play Prestonwood. They're a team year in and year out. They are a contender to win state at that Taps level. Currently, my dude being held without a catch, but he is an absolute savage.
What?
Austin Stogner.
No catches for
early.
Stogner?
It's early in the game.
He must didn't know that you picked him for your dog of the
he
week.
has to know now.
He'll get a touchdown before this one's over. I'm booking it, putting in the call. But Austin Stogner is a lethal weapon, and he is holding it down for the tight ends in the DFW.
Austin Stogner is a big old kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big
Yes,
boy.
he is.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the tight ends earlier. There are some big-time tight ends in Texas high
Absolutely.
school football that we'll definitely watch out. Heckma, I don't want to cut into this. We're going to get to your player to watch here in just a moment, but we do have an update from the Cotton Bowl. Ashley Pickle is there. Ashley, what's going on between Mansfield, Lakeridge, and Midway?
Are you lying?
Maybe not.
Well, guys, we kicked off about 20 minutes ago here at the Cotton Bowl for this Midway versus the Lake Ridge game. And you might be wondering why there are no football players on the field behind me when we still have 1 minute and 41 seconds left in the first quarter. Well, I'll tell you, another 30-minute lightning delay here at the Cotton Bowl.
No!
So for the first 15 or so minutes we did get to play. Lake Ridge Eagles up 10-0 on Midway after Chandler Rogers, the quarterback for Lake Ridge, has been having one heck of a night on the ground. So I will keep you updated here, and I'll let you know if we are ever going to finish this game here at Cotton Bowl Stadium.
Absolutely awful news.
You can tell the nightmare on her face.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
knows.
I really thought that this game was starting. We were going to finally get to see 4 quarters of glorious football. And oh my goodness, the skies have opened up. The lightning is there, and we're waiting 30 more minutes.
Oh, man.
Unbelievable.
Unfortunate, but Mansfield Lakeridge 10-0 over Midway. We talked about it earlier. That's a good Midway team. State championship game a year ago. Lost in that one late, but man, they have had 2 tough games early on. And Lakeridge looking good after a loss last week.
Now, what's going to happen to that Geyer game, man? They're going to kick off at 4 a.m.
I find it very
It's not
difficult.
happening.
Yeah, you're right. It's not
I thought it was
happening.
funny because in Ashley's first initial post to us, she said they want to make everybody happy. But do people really want to be at the Cotton Bowl at
They're not
1
making
a.m.
me happy. They have done
Geyer
nothing to
and-
make me
and
happy.
Cedar Hill?
That is for sure.
No.
Oh,
not the parents.
Not the parents.
Not
I'm sure
the
they're-
parents for
I'm
sure.
the band members, the cheerleaders. Which, by the way, we're going to talk about that battle of the bands. later.
Oh, man.
Yeah, let's
I'll
not
tell you
forget
what.
about
baby.
that.
Oh, it's
Duncanville,
coming up.
South Oak Cliff.
Ooh, those
yeah.
are some
Those are some really, really good bands. Really
we'll
good
get to
bands.
that later, everybody who's tuning in for the battle of the bands. But first, Hackman, give me your player to watch.
Listen, guys, I know that it's so easy to check Max Prep, right, and find our star players in
Is
the
it
state
easy,
of Texas.
Heckma?
It's very easy.
speak for
They
yourself.
spell it all
How do you-
out for you. It's like 1 through 100, and all you got to do is take your highlighter and just get a name and go to huddle and then watch these guys play. And you
shots
come
fired.
off, you guys come off like experts when you do that, right? But this is what I'm
You
going
dang
to do.
right we do.
Yes, you do.
Best in the
Yes, you do.
business.
Should I be
Especially for
offended?
you, Eye Candy.
Yes.
So let me tell you this. So here's the thing, guys. I want to find a diamond in the rough, guys. And I think I found one.
You went digging?
I went digging. And let me tell you, the one thing you want to dig by is some good jeans, right? Good jeans.
I'm wearing a pair right now, man.
No, that's not the kind of jeans I'm talking about. And so this kid here, he goes to Frisco Lone Star. Happened to be a big-time Cowboy supporter with his dad being ex-Cowboy, Kavika Pittman, has a son that plays for Lone Star who is an absolute man-child, okay? 16 years old, 6'4", 230 pounds. Torrin Pittman. He has an SEC body, guys, and this kid is Mr. Everything for Lone Star. All right, so if you ever get an opportunity, and if you ever want to see a treat on the football field, number 15, Torrin Smith is the man.
And what position are we talking about?
Defensive
here?
end.
Defensive end.
Defensive end.
There you go.
Just a game wrecker.
Just Mr. Everything. I mean, and I'm telling you, he's one of those raw athletes, and you can see it from him. Body hasn't filled out all the way. Another good summer. You're going to have Alabama, Georgia's are going to be all over this kid.
16 years old, so he's a sophomore.
You know who
he's
hates-
a junior.
Oh, he's a
Oh my
junior.
gosh, he's a junior.
He's a baby.
Poor Reagan Riddle for Highland Park. He's going to have to go against him next week, I
Got his
believe.
hands
That's going to be a
man.
great
That's going to be
matchup.
such.
Trying to tell you,
that's
we're
a
gonna talk
state
about that.
championship
Amazing.
kind of matchup right
Yeah,
there between
that's-
those.
A diamond. So we got to get a sponsor for that. Kyle, we got to get somebody.
Yeah, no, yeah.
All right, Diamond Doc, somebody. I don't know.
I got a
Let's
guy,
find somebody.
RW Diamond Broker.
Hey,
come
there
on.
you go.
Preston Road.
Now they owe you $50.
Yep, sweet 310.
Yeah.
All right.
Cha-ching.
Their owner.
I'm
is
thinking, Fred. I'm thinking
fantastic.
for you.
All right, so I'm going to go with my player to watch just real quick, and mine's one of those that you can look on the top 100 and pull out a highlighter because he's that good.
That guy.
Well, he's that good.
Yes, sir.
Is why it's Mr. Theo Weiss from your favorite Allen Eagles, baby.
Theo.
Gosh, he is an unbelievable player on that outside, committed to Oklahoma, just a man-child, big-time athlete. He puts up big numbers. I don't have him in front of me right now because we got to go to break. Okay. But that's
All you
my man.
got to do is Google
That's
Max
my man.
Preps. It's
Well,
right
we've got to go to
Apparently
commercial
it's
break.
right
I'm
there.
sorry.
Golly.
Everybody sounds like a
Friday
genius.
Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, powered by Game On Sports. We'll be back here in just a moment here from the Star.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players? To run into the end zone?
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Gotta love Friday night football in the state of Texas. Whataburger Friday Night Stars back with you here on this beautiful September Friday night. And by beautiful, I mean absolutely stormy, rainy, and just delays all over the place.
Sounds
Update
beautiful
from
to me.
Yeah, it's beautiful because football's happening, but it's also not beautiful because football is not happening specifically at the Cotton Bowl. Midway, Mansfield Anchorage officially canceled. Per report from ESPN Central Texas.
No, man.
It has been canceled.
Dang it.
Big time matchup. Lake Ridge was up in that game 10-0 and has since been canceled.
So do we know the protocol for something like this? A game that's been underway? Are they going to, do we have any idea? Do they reschedule?
I
Can they play
highly
tomorrow
doubt
at
they
the Cotton
reschedule
Bowl?
that. A non-district matchup.
Lake Ridge
I
just
think
takes
that-
the dub?
I don't think it's probably just
Probably
Not a
not going to
decision.
happen. Yeah, it's not an official game at this point because it's not into the halftime break yet. And it's also a non-district game, so I would be very surprised.
You know, I'm bummed
if
out
that
for those
gets-
kids, though. I
I
mean, you got to
know.
think about it. I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm a guy that grew up right there by the Cotton Bowl. My lifelong dream as a kid was to play in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, we jump the stadium to run the stadium steps.
Did you get to play there? Did you end up fulfilling that dream? Nice. You had 500 yards. You set records.
No, but it was a good game, but I didn't.
I did all of those things, and the game was awesome. And I've now got a statue outside the stadium.
Is that right?
The Heckma Harrison statue right outside gate 3.
You guys too much. Not
Proud
now.
of you,
Okay.
Heckma. That's a shame for those parents too.
It is.
Who drove
especially
2
waiting
hours,
as
sitting
long
in the
as
rain.
they did.
Kickoff was supposed to be at 5:30. They were supposed to be home and in bed by now.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's a sad day.
especially
Full Whataburger.
You look at exactly how long they've been there. Like you said, that's a game that should have started at 5.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And it hasn't necessarily happened yet. Another game that's been postponed all the way back to 9:15, but has not been started yet. Utah East in Allen. That game should get underway. We'll get an update there. We have Saji Adam at Allen Eagle Stadium. We'll talk to him in just a little bit. But
Any
overall,
idea with that Geyer game at the Cotton Bowl? Are
I
they
don't
going to
know.
cancel that one as well? Or are they
Yeah,
gonna
that's
give it a little
probably
more
why they
time?
went ahead and canceled Midway Lake Ridge. Because if they're going to have any hope of getting Geyer and Cedar Hill in, they needed to get that game figured out before they could decide what are we going to do with Geyer and Cedar Hill.
that's one of the big things is you look at one of these or both of those games and how late that was going to end up starting. We have Ashley Pickle at the Cotton Bowl. She's given a couple of reports from there, so we'll try and see if she can call in here in just a little bit and be able to talk to her about maybe what she has heard from some of the officials from the Cotton Bowl and from those teams, from those schools like Denton Geyer and Cedar Hill about some of those games. Eric, we've talked about some of these top games, but let's get into some of the other 5A scores from around the North Texas area. Still a lot of games underway, even though some are getting canceled with that second wave of storms rolling in. What 5A games are happening and what is going on in those?
Yep. Well, we already talked about the Grapevine and Abilene Cooper game. Abilene traveled down here to Grapevine, and Grapevine's putting it on them 24-6 right now. That's in the third quarter. Birdville, Little Elm, they're about to start the fourth quarter, 28-14. Birdville is up. And then the big game that we've talked about plenty, starting the fourth quarter, Keller Fossil Ridge, Denton Ryan. Fossil Ridge did end up putting up some points again, so it's 16-17 now. Denton Ryan's up by 1.
That
Missed
is a
extra
game.
point. Yeah, missed extra points for Fossil Ridge. We'll see if that comes back to bite them.
Yeah, that's, in a game where points just are at a premium right now, that's a shame for Fossil Ridge. And then Lake Dallas, Frisco Centennial. Lake Dallas is up 37-20. That game is 90 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And then let's see, any other games underway? We got Corsicana and Fort Worth Boswell. Corsicana is up 14-0 in the second quarter. And then that's for the most part. Well, we got Frisco Lebanon Trail. They're getting smoked by Fort Worth Arlington Heights, 28-0. And let's see, Siegville's up on. Actually, Siegville is losing to Granbury, 29-20. And then Arlington, Seguin, and Mansfield, Timberview. Timberview's up 22-7 in the second quarter. Duncanville's up 7-0 on South Oak Cliff. That is still in the first quarter. I guess that was delayed as well.
It had to be a rain delay.
That had to be a rain delay there. So, and then my Northwest Texans are down 6-0 to McKinney. That's still in the first quarter, so likely that one's probably got a delay to it. And then that's pretty much it there. So 5A scores. Hopefully some of those will get underway. Grapevine looking good against Abilene Cooper.
Yeah, and that's a Grapevine team we talked about a little bit ago. They're a good bunch. We got an update with Arlington Martin and Hebron. Arlington Martin got a safety. They blocked a punt out the back of the end zone to make it 7-2, and then they just scored KJ Polk with a 5-yard touchdown to make it 8-7. They are up on Hebron. Hebron now pinned back inside their own 10-yard line. They completed a pass to move up to about the 15, but they're pinned back, so we'll see if maybe Arlington Martin can force a punt, get the ball with good field position again, and the Warriors are then on the move.
That's a good Arlington Bowie team. Or I take that back. Good Arlington Martin team.
Well, you talked about, we mentioned Bowie earlier, right, in our predictions, and how Bowie's kind of overlooked, and it's because of the success of Arlington Martin the last few years.
And also, you got to look at Martin, and they had a tough week one matchup against Lake Travis that they dropped that Lake Travis team back up in the Metroplex, playing some games there. Now, another team that we've talked about traditionally also having some success, South Lake Carroll, leading now 7-0. They're up over Colleyville Heritage, a 2-yard touchdown run from Glenn Mitchell.
All right.
Yeah.
Looking good on that one. I thought that one started at 8:45. Colleyville's already up 7-0.
No. South Lake is up 7.
South Lake Carroll's up 7.
I was wondering why you got so excited.
No, I thought you said Colleyville.
No. It was against
McDaniel
Colleyville.
Touchdown run is what it was from 1 yard out.
Well, let's show some love to the schools with 1,500 or less enrollment. the 4A, picking some 4A games here.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it. Let's run through it.
We got a few games underway here in 4A football, and as my system refreshes again.
Yeah, no, that's
actually, hey, while that system refreshes, we've actually got a reporter from the Cotton Bowl. Ashley Pickle is on the phone. Ashley, a long night for you, no doubt. You were originally going to work 2 games. You waited it out on the first game, Midway and Mansfield Lake Ridge. It got underway, but that was about it, Ashley.
We were so close, man. After 3 hours and 15 minutes of piddling our thumbs and sitting around, we got on the field. They played almost all the way to that first quarter, and all of a sudden, all the football players are just running past me, going into the locker room. And yeah, big lightning delay said that we were going to have to wait another 30 minutes. So I followed the teams back in the tunnel and kind of hung around the refs and the coaches, and all of a sudden the Lake Ridge coach said, nope, we're done. And so they came out, they told all the cheerleaders, everyone, pep bands and cheerleaders were very excited to be done with tonight.
No doubt about that. But are there any other news or rumors going around about how they're going to deal with this game? What's the protocol, and is this going to be a game that's made up or just canceled flat outright?
Have not heard anything yet from anyone. I'm assuming that it'll probably just be canceled. They didn't seem too worried about it after this. I think everyone was just about done. But supposedly they are trying to see if they can get that Geyer game to go live out here at 9:45.
Wow!
But with all of the rest of the games canceling, we've got some of the field crew coming out, kind of messing with the benches and stuff right now, checking out the field, and it just doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Well, Ashley, you got to see a little bit of Lake Ridge. They were up 10-0 before this thing got canceled, and it seemed like their quarterback, Chandler Rogers, came out red hot, 9 of 10 early in this one. What'd you see from Mansfield Lake Ridge before this baby got canceled?
Exactly what you said. That Chandler Rogers, it was very impressive that he came out as ready as he was after such a long delay. You worry about the players in a delay like that. They were all just sitting around in the locker room trying to stretch as much as they can. He came out focused and ready to go. I think that shows some good senior leadership coming from him. But on that first drive, like you said, he had a quarterback sneak from about 20 yards-ish, ran it all the way in. He really was taking command of his team. You could hear him on the sideline saying, we're not going to let that delay mess us up. So very, very positive offensive movement there from him and the Lake Ridge offense as a whole.
Ashley, great job from the Cotton Bowl. Long night. Are you going to be able to stick around for this Denton Geyer and Cedar Hill game, or do you have to get out of here? I know it's a long night.
I can see how long it's going to take for them to cancel this one, too.
Well, Ashley, before we let you go, I'm sure you had a lot of time to sit there and listen to both bands perform, trying to entertain the crowd and the fans. What'd you think of these bands?
I heard a lot of metronome and a lot of buzzing trying to keep their lips warm, so couldn't tell you that much about the music that they played. But I will tell you, in my time waiting, I did interview one of the Maramba. Not much. There we go. Okay, thank you. I should have known. Zach would have known that. But yeah, I got to interview her, and she was phenomenal. I absolutely loved them. So after talking to the Lake Ridge band, they were playing a Ninja down in the tunnel trying to kill some time, too. That's an old fan favorite of mine. So I'm going to go Lake Ridge on the Battle of the Bands tonight.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Not a problem, guys.
Have a good one, Ashley. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later on, potentially about some more football from the Cotton Bowl.
All right, sounds good. Y'all have fun.
So Ashley Pickle on the scene. She did a great job. You can check out some of those interviews retweeted by the Game On Sports Pro Twitter account. Also, by the way, just want to remind you, go follow us. The Friday Night Stars show finally has a Twitter.
We're moving up in the world.
A Twitter and an Instagram.
A Twitter and an Insta.
We've got both. Follow us on Twitter at Friday_stars.
What is the proper phrasing these days for Instagram? Is it the gram?
I say the gram. Some people say IG. IG.
IG.
It's Instagram.
Instagram is just, it takes too long.
I always thought the Insta, but I don't know.
Instagram. It's 3 syllables.
You just put it on Insta?
Insta.
You can throw it on Insta. Or I like just saying, throw it on the gram.
Throw it on the gram.
Heckma says throw it on the gram.
Dude.
I got
Throw it on the gram. Topic. 5 syllables compared to Instagram.
Something like that.
Heckma, you got an Instagram. You're a big Instagrammer.
I am.
Pictures, videos.
Social media is where it's at, guys. One of these days, I'll have to help you out with yours.
Yeah, you probably should, because I need a lot of help with it.
Yeah.
You know what else I could use some help with?
Yes.
4A and other football
I got it.
scores.
I've been holding on to it, guys.
We cut into you a little bit.
It's okay. It's okay.
Run it down.
Waco La Vega is up 12-3 over Argyle.
Wow.
Obviously, Waco La Vega doesn't have a kicker. They have 2 scores on the ground, but can't get an extra point to save their life at this point. But still up nonetheless, 12-3. Guys, most of the Metroplex is in this rain delay, okay? So a lot of the games that are supposed to be going on are not or canceled. Anna is up at beginning of the third quarter over Fort Worth Eastern Hills, 20-0. Midlothian Heritage is up 14-0 over Kennedale. And Lincoln High School is playing Greenville today, and it's in a weather delay. So
okay. I got excited whenever you started.
Kicked off yet?
It's not even kicked off.
Goodness.
This one at this point is probably going to be canceled as well. So, guys, not a whole lot in the Metroplex as far as 4A action is concerned.
Yeah, it's pretty tough at that point. And you look at everything around the area trying to get through just a couple of quarters.
Well, you know, a team that is not in the area, they're actually playing out in Florida.
Okay.
That is Trinity Christian Cedar Hill, a team where Deion Sanders, prime time.
Okay.
He is the offensive coordinator for Trinity Christian Cedar Hill. They're up 39-0.
Wow.
That's one of those teams right now where they're just looking for somebody to schedule them to play because they're going to come in and absolutely beat the brakes off you. Jesuit and DeSoto, we have an update there. Red zone alert. It looks like DeSoto is marching inside the Jesuit red zone there at the 7-yard line, holding a 10-point lead. And Hebron has just kicked a field goal. They're back up 10-8. So Hebron and Arlington Martin, just a back-and-forth affair between those two early in the second quarter.
Highland Park against Mesquite Horn. That game supposedly about to kick off in about 15 minutes from now. So another game that potentially could get kicked off. And, of course, we talked about Allen. They were scheduled to kick off about 2 minutes ago. We'll check and see if that game will actually get kicked off or not. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break from the Star here in Frisco, Texas, Dallas Cowboys headquarters. We are Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. And we'll be back here in just a minute.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger, serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Lots of games around the North Texas area underway. Lots delayed, some canceled, as we have been dodging storms throughout the North Texas area all Friday night long. Welcome back in the Whataburger Friday Night Stars. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo, 3 of the greatest Texas high school sports minds that there have ever been assembled. Ever, with the big star in the background. We are happy to be with you, even though it's been kind of a tough Friday night, guys. I mean,
especially for the people at Waco Midway.
Sorry. Yeah. All those Waco Midway.
Or Waconians.
They swam all the way here.
What is
just Wacoans.
Wacoans, okay.
Wacoans? Okay.
Yeah.
Wacoans.
Of course, I am a Wacoan myself. That's the only reason I know
Thank you.
that.
That's why we refer to you on that.
You refer to me as Wacoan?
Yeah.
I always thought it was a wackoing.
Can I get back to some football real quick?
Yeah, give us an update.
You have actual football?
I have some actual football happening.
Are we
One of the
playing
games
football?
that we have highlighted, which is getting played, is Denton Ryan and Keller Fossil Ridge. Denton Ryan up 19-16 right now after a Riley Nuzzo 27-yard field goal. But Ian Hennigan, the quarterback of Denton Ryan, Coach Hennigan's son, he's taken over for Spencer Sanders, just threw an interception. So good field position for Fossil Ridge here. They're going in to score. Ian Hennigan, 5 of 17 for 30 yards. And this is kind of a topic that I don't know that a lot of people, I'm sure if you're a coach, like you don't want to be in this position. But yeah, your son's the starting quarterback for your team. Mm-hmm. He's really struggling. They have a guy by the name of Drew Sanders, who, heck, I know you're familiar with it. He's a big defensive guy, but he also has just an athlete, right? So he's
listed at tight end as well.
And what do you do here? I mean, when do you decide, man, we might need a – I know your defense has you in this game and you have a chance to win, but if your quarterback's not getting it done, and right now you're when you move into district play, it's okay right now, but 2 weeks from now it's not going to be okay. When do you make that decision to maybe move on?
Well, the thing for Denton Ryan is, you don't expect for them to be struggling at this point anyway. So it's tough. It's tough, one, because it's your starting quarterback, and two, it's the coach's son.
Yeah.
But look, guys, they have a resolution behind this kid, and I call him Thor. All right. Sanders this kid is everything, guys. He can take over a game by himself. Big, powerful, strong, fast. And he can throw the ball. So, I mean, you kind of put yourself in a situation where if you just got to go to Sanders to get through this ball game, then it works for you. Okay, at least you don't destroy your kid's confidence. And that's the one thing that they don't want to do, because they've been through spring ball with him and all. They know exactly who he is, but especially in weather like this, a quarterback sometimes will struggle.
Yeah, sometimes that's one of the things with an offense. Usually, you might have some issues trying to go from a veteran quarterback to a brand new quarterback. Spencer Sanders last year, now Oklahoma State player. It could potentially put some roadblocks in there for a brand new quarterback. And a lot of people are used to Denton Ryan having a dominant quarterback behind center taking some snaps.
Well, right now it's dominant defense. In the way they got up 19-16, it was 17-16. It was a safety.
It was a safety
that Denton Ryan forced on Fossil Ridge to put them up 19-16. So that means the Denton Ryan defense has scored 16 of their total 19 points.
That's
for tonight's game. I mean, that Denton Ryan defense is, I mean, we knew they were great coming in, but they have shown against a Fossil Ridge offense that we knew had a lot of weapons on the outside, good running back. But, man, that Denton Ryan defense is just too much to handle, and they've scored practically all the points tonight and are winning against Fossil Ridge. That's incredible.
And one of the things I always say at the beginning of any football season, first games are never any indicators of what kind of team you have, whether it's a good game or a bad game. It's usually the proof usually comes out in the pudding round 4 or 5 games into it. So here are the things we look at right at the beginning. Penalties. If your team is committing a lot of penalties, if you're turning the ball over, those are just DNA things for teams, right?
Absolutely.
But there are other things like I'm going back to this because there are a lot of quarterbacks in this state that have problems with throwing a wet ball versus in other places. And so that may be the issue when you deal with Denton Ryan, because the shoes that this kid had to fill were tremendous with the quarterback that they
with Spencer Sanders. No, you're 100% right, and I wouldn't suggest that given the weather, but it's the fact that I think last week they didn't throw for over 90 yards. I mean, they had 86-yard passing, I believe it was. They're at 30 yards passing. They've got 80 yards on the ground. No, I mean, this is a team, they want to be able to have big chunk plays down the field. They do have an outstanding running back in Amani Bailey, but this is a team that wants to spread it out with the multitude of different receivers they've got, with Billy Bowman Jr., who's done it on the defensive end of the ball, Jatavian Sanders, Jamarian Robertson. They've got a lot of weapons, and right now they've got to be pretty frustrated because their quarterback is showing an inability to get them the ball down the field. So we do have Grayson Ouellette calling this game. Hopefully he's able to give us a call afterwards and kind of let us know maybe how Ian Hennigan was looking. But I think that's something to look forward to with this Denton Ryan squad. This game by no means is over. 19-16, just under 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. This game hanging in the balance. Keller Fossil Ridge with a chance to go ahead and claim this victory. But even if Ryan starts 2-0, I think that's a shaky 2-0. I mean, we know that defense is elite, but this team is a state champion contender year in and year out. They've been spoiled at the quarterback position, and right now they're not getting production.
Okay, so one of the big things is the cancellations of some of these games. You talk about Denton Ryan. Luckily, they're getting this game in because that's a great game going on right now. Let's run some through these cancellations. North Mesquite versus Garland Lakeview. That football game has been canceled and will not be made up. Greenville versus your boys Lincoln.
That's right.
Has been canceled as well. Richardson versus Samuel. That game has been postponed. And then we've also got Duncanville and South Oak Cliff. We've actually got Adrian Jagush at Duncanville and South Oak Cliff. Adrian, what's going on in a big-time matchup? That is the star. That's a game that is not going to be rained out, boys. I will let you know that.
Heck, I'll tell you what, this is a game I wouldn't mind keeping an eye on with Lake Dallas.
Oh, man, yeah.
40-34, a minute and a half left. I mean, this one's ticking down. This is one we're going to have to come back to here momentarily.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead and go to Adrian, though. Adrian is ready in South Oak Cliff. Adrian, what's going on?
Well, folks, that's it for tonight. With 1 minute and 26 seconds left in the first quarter, the threat of lightning and rain has become too strong, and we've called it quits. As you can see, we've cleared out the stadium of the players and the spectators because it's just too dangerous. So originally, we were on an additional 30-minute delay, but every time there was a flash of lightning, there was an additional 30-minute delay. So there was about 5 flashes of lightning, and it became too late. It was about to storm. So that's all for tonight, folks. Duncanville had 7 points against the South Oak Cliff Bears, but this game has officially been canceled.
Well, thank you very much, Adrian. Just another bad news day. It has now been 10 games in the North Texas area.
It's so upsetting because that was the game I know Heckman and I were pretty stoked about. And we're not even going to get a Battle of the Bands winner.
No Battle of the Bands.
I mean, I wish those bands could just play.
Didn't even make it to
out there. They can play out there.
It's the fact that we're looking at each other thinking the same thing about the Battle of the
That
Bands.
band update's so freaking bad.
One of those bands out there.
Why didn't Adrian give us an update on the bands?
Because they didn't play.
Come on, Adrian.
They never played.
No, Adrian actually was amazing, by the way.
Adrian did do a great job. He's been there all night. I do want to give a quick shout out to all of our reporters that are out at these games because they are battling it more than we are currently. Nick Laupius is at Heritage in Southlake. That's a game that's going on currently right now. Grayson Nolet, not a reporter, but he's going to call in from Fossil Ridge and Ryan. Paige Norbach, same thing from Mesquite Horn Highland Park, a game that is trying to get kicked off here in the next 5 minutes or so. Saji Adams is at Utah East and Allen. Ashley Pickle at the Cotton Bowl with a couple games there. She has really been all over the place tonight. Adrian Jagish, Duncanville, South Oak Cliff, you just heard from him. And Jackson Dunnavant, we'll hear from him. He's at Jesuit and DeSoto. So we've got a whole crew and cast of players and reporters out at these games, and they're battling through the elements just as the players and coaches are.
I've got an update. I know we've been bouncing around. We've had Lincoln. We've had Justin Northwest. We've had Mako Midway, my alma mater. Plano is on the board. Kyron Cumbie, a 3-yard touchdown run for the Plano Wildcats.
There you go.
They got down 9-0 in this one, scaring the dickens out of me. They're playing against El Paso Eastwood. It's the first time in Plano's 100-plus year history of playing football that they took on an El Paso school. And this was an interesting way this one got matched up. Eastwood's head coach is Julio Lopez. He played at UTEP with former Plano quarterback Carson Meager, who's now the quarterback's coach at Plano. The two of them started talking about 3 years ago, like, heck, wouldn't it be fun if we could play? Eventually, Carson traded that information with head coach Shadon McCullough at Plano. They made it happen. Here comes El Paso. They're at John Clark Stadium taking on the Plano Wildcats 9-7 on the road with the early lead.
Hey guys,
awesome.
I got one here now. I'm checking this score on the Colleyville Heritage Southlake game. Southlake is up 14-0. Not at all what we were expecting in this game from the Colleyville Heritage Panthers. However, there is a kid that made the stat sheet that I know, and this kid was in the booth with us as an intern. And Chris Beam, if you're listening, Trey Flint made the stat sheet. I don't know what kind of throw this was, but he attempted one pass. It went nowhere, so he's 0 for 0.
Some trick play action going
on. Something happened. It had to be a play action pass, a reverse pass for Trey Flint. But it's awesome to see this kid's name here. But either way, guys, it looks like Southlake Carroll is definitely putting it on them. But as far as the yardage is concerned, both of the touchdowns that they've scored have been rushing touchdowns in that one.
Southlake trying to make it 11 games in a row against Colleyville Heritage. And credit to Southlake for last week getting, starting the game off pretty poorly offensively in terms of putting up points. And now this game, last week it took a fourth quarter for Southlake. They needed like 20 points in the fourth quarter to make sure they win that game. But Southlake comes out, not even in the second quarter yet, already putting up 14 points. So
now this is a team in Colleyville Heritage that, what I will say, they make better adjustments than anyone.
They're a second-half team.
They're a second-half team.
I'm not counting them out.
Well, apparently so is Southlake Carroll because they made some great adjustments last week against South Grand Prairie, I guess, came out in the second half. I don't know. But that's awesome, though, when you have two coaches, and Riley Dodge is relatively new to the party. Obviously, he's been around it with his dad being a legendary head coach in Texas. But that's a fun matchup right there when those two teams get together. We have another update with Hebron and Arlington Martin.
Alrighty.
Hebron scored. Trajan Bridges, the all-everything offensive player. He's a wide receiver.
He is outstanding.
He is.
Yeah.
He took this one 41 yards to the house on a touchdown run. They are up 20-8 on Arlington Martin right now in the second quarter.
Well, I've got a better update. And you know why?
It's football being played?
Because of two reasons. Well, three reasons. Football's being played.
Nice.
It's one of my players to watch.
You have a guy?
Weiss.
Theo Weiss.
Oh, Theo Weiss.
And we've got actual live footage. 43-yard touchdown pass. Let's look at it here from the laptop cam. I'm actually playing this from right in front of me. Boom. Theo Weiss, right before the snap from Allen Stadium. Still a good crowd sticking around as Allen takes on Utah East. We've got Sanji Adam on the sideline. Look at this. Over the middle. Goes up, beats a defender, dragged into the end zone, but he's there. Touchdown, Allen, and they lead it 7-0 over Utah East.
We have seen that before. Tisdale to Weiss. That is quite the connection.
I told you, I said 20 last week. I was like, I think these guys can hook up for 20 touchdowns. It might be 30.
It could be.
These two are an absolutely lethal weapon, and we talked about that Utah East team coming in here. They're on their fourth quarterback. They're starting running backs out. They're banged up. They're a national power, but they're taking on the Allen Eagles that I think really could just beat anybody in the country.
Right. They got their mind on Whataburger already. But at the same time,
thanks
guys,
to Upo.
I believe that. I was telling you, Kyle, that I got an opportunity to watch this Allen Eagle team. And, man, they are as advertised. Now, I don't want to be the one to claim that this is the greatest quarterback-receiver combination that I've seen in the state of Texas.
Okay.
But as it relates to a lot of levels of football, Theo Weiss, these guys are, I mean, ESP, right? They got something.
You want to hear something crazy right now?
Yeah.
So Grant Tisdale's 5 for 5. He's got 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. All 5 of those completions are to Theo Weiss.
So, again, thank you for making my point for me.
So 2 touchdowns for Theo?
Goodness
Theo's
gracious.
got 5 catches,
I'm watching
109
these
yards, 2
guys.
scores.
I'm watching these guys, and I'm telling you, it is though he's just taking the ball out there and handing it to him. It doesn't even look like he's passing it. And there are certain routes, like a fade route, that is something that is practiced over and over. And these guys have that back shoulder fade is amazing, the way that these guys connect that. And that I don't know if anyone's going to be able to stop that.
No, and it's absolutely a timing thing with that back shoulder. You've got to know where your receiver wants it, and then it's really a touch throw from the quarterback. And we've seen here, being at the Star in Frisco, what was the talk all last season with Dak Prescott and Dez Bryant? They couldn't get, and that's what Tony Romo did so effectively. Well, they just couldn't connect on that. Grant Tisdale and Theo Weiss, man, they have perfected it.
Another thing going along with the back shoulder fade and trying to hit over the top, there's also the ability there to go underneath. And you talked about the second score. Let's go back to Eagle Stadium where Theo Weiss got the job done again. His second score of the day from Allen Eagle Stadium. Look at this. Just in the flats. Makes a man miss, and then he's off to the races.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, bye-bye.
Sideline.
Right in front of Saji Adam all the way. Theo Weiss is an absolute monster. You talked about 30 touchdowns. He may reach 30 by the end of the night.
It's going to be a long flight home for Utah, man. You got to feel for him just a little bit, man.
I
gotta
don't
feel for him.
Well, I tell you what.
I don't.
Well, how about this?
Heckman
How
does
about
not
this?
care.
I'm about to segue a little bit from our updates and talk about a guy who you can feel bad for. Jalen Cattle.
Oh, God.
We have to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest news breaking stories over the first week of Texas high school football. We'll have a package on him sometime later in the season because he's still going to be around that Mansfield Legacy squad. But this week put out a tweet after, of course, he got hurt last week in his season opening game against Jinx, Oklahoma. Jinx, a powerhouse in that Oklahoma realm. But Jalen Catalon, uncommitted. A lot of people think OU, Texas, but he has offers from really anywhere.
Sure.
Alabama, TCU, Clemson, Colorado, Duke, Florida, Houston, Missouri, Nebraska, North Texas, Ohio State. Really anybody you could potentially think of is looking at Jalen Catalon. He's done as a Mansfield Legacy. Are they the Mustangs?
Yes.
The Broncos.
You were close.
I was close. It was a horse
thing.
Yeah, it was a
Grapevine
horse on
Mustangs. It's all right.
Yeah, it was close. But he's done it in his high school career going on to college. I hate laughing in this segment, but I totally screwed the pooch there.
I feel for Catalan and I feel for Kyle right now.
Yeah.
And Jalen, he did tweet out something to touch base with the fan base, L-Side Nation. He said, thank you to everyone for the prayers through these last couple of days. Unfortunately, my senior season will come to an end. Thank you, L-Side Nation, for all the support and dedication the past years. And it was a blessing to wear the number 5 jersey and play in front of you guys. To all my brothers on the team, I love every single one of you, and I wouldn't want to play with anyone else, and I know you guys are going to finish what we started. It was a pleasure, Mansfield Legacy, but time to begin the process for the next level and come back stronger. Hashtag L-Side forever, hashtag God's plan. So that is Jalen Catalan touching base with that L-Side Nation fan group, which is obviously it's a heartbreaker for them. But they did bounce back last night, as we talked about earlier in the show. They did come out, get a win for Jalen, and it's a knee injury for him. So that's an ACL, it's an MCL. He's going to be it'll be a tough road to recover. But, man, this dude is an absolute stud, two-sport athlete. I mean, baseball, football, he's dynamite at both. And wherever he goes, we know he's going to have some success. Everything you hear about the kid is just how great of a kid he is, the hard work that he puts in. Everybody seems to love him. And to be that good off the field when you're an incredible star on the field and everybody already knows that is pretty special.
Hashtag get well soon.
Right.
Amen.
Definitely. So, Zach, I know you got to see him in person. Eric, I don't know if you got to see him in person before his injury, but was he one of the best defensive players you've ever seen?
Just pure
at the
football
high school
players.
level?
Absolutely. I mean, what he did.
I think you include the NFL.
I think Eric talked about it last week. I mean, he highlighted he was his player to watch, and I've never quite seen an individual be able to just straight up go up to an opposing offensive player and just rip the ball out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like he would absorb into the body of the opposing player, spin out, ball's mine. I've never quite seen a knack or an ability for a defensive player to do that. He was a game changer. He could do anything on the football field.
Yeah, I got an opportunity to look at a lot of highlight film of this kid, and he reminded me of Ed Reed.
I think that's a beautiful comparison.
That's what he reminded me of on the field. Very aggressive, not a very big guy, but ball hawk. Everywhere the ball is, that's where he is.
He smacks people, man. He hits people.
He's Mr. Everything as it relates to that. One of the things that I thought about, man, when he hurt himself, and not that I was even any athlete on this guy's spectrum. But no.
You have a
please,
statue
come on, guys. Come on, guys.
I like it.
All right. But I got injured my senior year. And, it was gloom and doom for me. But for a guy like him, being undecided, just playing the devil's advocate here, where in the state of Texas, you have all these kids that are early commits. Sophomore year, they've committed to Oklahoma and Notre Dame, and then they switch, later on. This guy kind of it was kind of risky for him to go into the season and not be committed, and you see why now, right? So are there going to be teams that kind of turn their eyes, turn their nose up at him or turn away? Because the MCL, ACL injury is pretty devastating.
Sure.
You see in the NFL, you see Carson Wentz going through the same thing, same injury, basically. And so it's the outside tendon and the inside tendon that have to be surgically repaired. So that's a difficult injury for a kid, but what he has in his favor is youth, right? So this is something that he can definitely recover from, come back even bigger and stronger from, and also the fact that he is a two-sport athlete. That's another thing that definitely works in his favor as well.
Well, he's got youth and he's got time, right? So if you were to suffer an injury like this, to have it happen at the beginning of the season, so you've got really the entire year before you're coming back.
It's a 2-year injury.
You think so? Well, he was probably a player that could have started as a freshman, but you go ahead and redshirt that kid. I don't think it'll necessarily affect him in terms of recruiting. He'll still probably be able to get his pick of the litter. But yeah, it is devastating for really a program that, they were able to rebound. I think we've talked about it. They've still got a lot of good talent on that team. Caleb King, 202 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, outstanding runner. We talked about they've got D1 talent littered across the board on defense. They're a really good football team, but Jalen Catalon put them over the top.
He was the bell cow of that.
No doubt. They were my pick to win the 5A state championship. Wow. I don't know that I can say that now.
But the other thing going in Jalen's favor is the fact anybody who's suffered a devastating knee injury understands the rehab, and it's how grueling it is, how long it is, how painful it is. But he's a guy with the character and the work ethic that he's going to come back stronger than ever before.
That's the thing that works in his favor, because he's going to have to work hard to be the athlete that he knows that he is. An injury like this, it changes everything. So you don't want him the favorite. You don't want him to, let it be a mental thing, because at that point, then it stops his athletic ability.
Lots of talk about Jalen Catalon, and I'm sure it's not the last time we'll hear about that, because that Mansfield Legacy team is going to miss him badly throughout the rest of the year. So our best wishes and prayers out to Jalen Catalon. Hopefully, and we know he'll come back stronger than ever and be an outstanding player at the next level. But when we come back here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars, we'll look through some of those scores again from our top games around the area. Here from the SWBC Mortgage Studios, it's Whataburger Friday Night Stars, presented by Game On Sports.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
Back here from the Star in Frisco, Dallas Cowboys headquarters, and tonight it's the headquarters to Friday Night Stars high school football in the Lone Star State. Of course, the best high school football in the entire nation. Thank you for joining us. We are almost to hour number 4, boys. Kyle Yeomans, Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. Outstanding group of sports minds in the room. I say that over and over again, but I mean it. But the thing is about Friday Night Stars, Whataburger Friday Night Stars, is we don't just have the great sports minds in the room. We have them on site as well. One of those, Ashley Pickle, is at the Cotton Bowl. She's been there throughout the cancellation, the postpone, then the start, then the cancellation of Midway and Mansfield Lake Ridge, and now Denton Guyer and Cedar Hill attempting to kick off as well from the Cotton Bowl. Let's send it out to Ashley. Ashley, what's going on at that historic stadium right now?
I think the term "a little rain never hurt nobody" is in full-fledged here at the 2018 Cotton Bowl Stadium Prep Showcase. You can see behind me, like I said, that previous game was canceled, but we're looking here with Denton Guyer and the Cedar Hill Longhorns to finish our first full game of the night. Kickoff should be in about 9 minutes. 9 minutes from now, hopefully we will go ahead and start playing some football. Man, I am ready for that. But guys, I'll keep you updated as to if there's any more lightning delays or anything like that. Back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. Another great report as they're trying to kick that game off. My goodness.
Poor
I'm
Pickle
telling you,
out there, man.
I know
Battling the elements.
The craziness of John Walsh. He was going to try and get that game in if he could. He is very, very upset after that 40-0 shellacking against Toledo. First time his Denton Guyer Wildcats have been shut out since 2006. He could not go to sleep after that game. I read a quote. He just couldn't fall asleep. He had to go back and watch the tape, and he was able to sleep like a baby after he watched the tape and saw that his offensive and defensive lines in the trenches actually played pretty well. They just hurt themselves in the foot with turnovers.
Yeah.
So I know you guys were all thinking Cedar Hill in this one. Watch out for Guyer. They might not win it, but I would be shocked if this game's not extremely close, assuming they're able to get it in.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that they're about to kick off a game at 9:45, but they wouldn't be the only ones because there are other games going on around the North Texas area that have been postponed. Heckma,
I got one for you guys. Flower Mound Marcus versus McKinney Boyd. Flower Mound Marcus is up 35-14. This is a good game that's in halftime right now, so this one won't be getting over anytime soon. But yeah, 34-14. Flower Mound putting it on them. Quarterback for Flower Mound, Newsomer, I'm going to destroy this name.
I can't pronounce that name either.
You can't either. Okay, well,
I'll have to look at it.
I don't have it in front of me, to be honest with you, to help you out here. I'm sorry.
We're leaving you out to dry.
But it's okay. It's okay. I've been there before. Thrown for 17 throws, attempted 17, completed 10, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns already. Just rolling, 34-14.
We have our first overtime game here with Friday Night Stars.
Nail biter.
We do. Keller Fossil Ridge, Denton Ryan in overtime,
Free
baby.
football, man.
Fossil Ridge. We've got another kicker who's getting a homecoming date. He might be carted off. Well, not carted. He might be taken off the field, carried off on shoulders.
I hope he's not carted off.
Eduardo Mercado, a 43-yarder. His time expired. Well, there's 1 second left on the clock, but virtually it sounds better. Time expired. Keller Fossil Ridge able to tie that one, send it into overtime. Right now, Ryan has the first possession. They're at the 4-yard line. Second down and goal. Amani Bailey just carried it. Got stuffed at the line of scrimmage. We'll keep you updated.
And Zach, that's a Denton Ryan team that has won how many straight regular season games?
31. So they're looking for their 32nd straight
now the
regular season win.
Overtime. What's the rules and
25. You start on the 25-yard line. Each team gets a possession in each overtime. If it's tied after every overtime, then you go into another one.
So it's like college.
It's the same thing as college. At the end of overtime, you get, or after the end of 2 overtimes, you have to go for 2.
Huh.
And that is what it is. Same thing as college rules. Same thing as well. Another game that started late, Highland Park and Mesquite Horn. Highland Park actually gave up a good little drive to Mesquite Horn. That's a Horn team that you like, of course, from last week. And then and then a lot of teams have an eye on around the area. And Mesquite Horn was driving in this game, got all the way inside the 35-yard line, then turned it over on downs. And this is what happened on that next play from Highland Park. It was at 7:57 in the first quarter. Highland Park, there it is right there. Chandler Morris at quarterback, looking over the middle, and of course he finds Finn Corwin all by himself. Corwin was a touchdown monster a year ago. At one point, had 12 touchdowns out of 16 receptions.
Also a state championship hero, right? I mean, Finn Corwin had that fourth down play in that state championship against Manville. John Stephen Jones finds him on that little crossing pattern, opposite sideline. Finn starts cramping on the sideline after he makes the catch. I mean, that game just had everything in it. And here Highland Park trying to carry that baby over with another touchdown for Finn.
Yeah, Highland Park taking the lead 7-0. They do end up making that field goal. Don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Chandler Morris got some love on Twitter this week from Deshaun Watson.
He did. Deshaun Watson went out and quote tweeted and gave some props.
He said, "That's my guy."
That's a relationship that goes back to his dad, obviously, is the offensive coordinator with Clemson before he got the head coaching job at SMU. He's had that relationship, I think, since 8th grade when Chandler was in 8th grade. Deshaun Watson was there at Clemson. I mean, how awesome is that as an 8th grader? You're getting taken under your wing by and now an MVP candidate in the National Football League.
Well, I tell you what, man.
He's my Super Bowl MVP candidate.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's jumping out of the cake.
Yeah.
That's okay. So one of the things that we had this conversation off air last week about Highland Park, and I was curious about the program and just wanted to know what kind of offense these guys were running. So what did I do? I went and checked it out. And there's a reason why you see Highland Park scouts running wide open on touchdown highlights. This kid Morris is throwing guys open. Just the same thing that Jones last year had.
John Stephen.
I mean, that's one of the things that you find that's really incredible for quarterbacks. I mean, there's some guys they figure out the timing of it, but then there are other guys that are throwing people open, and that's one of the great qualities that I see from this guy.
I think you're 100% right on that, and I don't want to get off the top about Highland Park if you want to stay on there, but we have news, we have an update, and my crystal ball, my forecast was correct. Ian Hennigan is out. He has been pulled for Drew Sanders. Drew Sanders is in. He is starting at quarterback for Denton Ryan, unless it was a trick play, but he just threw a touchdown pass to Jatavian Sanders, a 4-yarder, to give Ryan the lead 26-19 in overtime.
This kid, Drew Sanders, I'm swear to you guys, if you ever see him standing on the field, you will call him Thor.
Well, he's 6'5", 220 pounds, and he runs like a gazelle.
Yeah, he's different.
And they've been keeping this guy on the bench?
No, he's starting at linebacker.
And tight end.
Oh, my
He
gosh,
plays both sides of the
man.
ball. Just
Goodness
not
gracious.
quarterback.
What a stud. What a stud.
He's a 4-star recruit from 24/7 Sports.
Oklahoma. Well, anyone
committed to
can look at
Oklahoma.
24/7
Well, and that
Sports,
means
right?
he just scored or threw the first offensive touchdown for
for 2 interceptions
Ryan.
for poor
we can't. Look, it's going to obviously be a long week of practice and trying to figure out who's going to start at quarterback.
I think you got your answer.
Yeah, not if Sanders comes out on top. If he shows out in this overtime, which he's already done. If he goes and wins this game, it looks like you found yourself a new starting quarterback at Ryan.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Going back to Highland Park just for a split second, we saw that touchdown score from Finn Corwin over the middle. Let's go back to that laptop cam that we have hooked up, as there's now a game delay. Unfortunately, there's the scene at Highlander Stadium.
The lights seem okay, though. What's wrong?
The lights are on this time, as opposed to last week.
Let's get the lacrosse team out there. Maybe they can play in halftime or during the break of this.
Pretty good lacrosse
Little
team.
Lax Bros out there.
It's a great
Highland
lacrosse
Park's a great. Hey, Division II state champions.
You're exactly right. In
As
Division
seen
One,
on
they made
Game
it to
On
the state
Sports.
semifinals. Yeah, you're exactly right. Good plug there, Zach.
Just a couple of lax bros talking lax, man.
Kyle and I on the side might also be the voice of Texas high school lacrosse. I don't know.
Potentially.
High five across the table. Shameless plug. Let's get back to football, though, as we are Friday Night Stars, and there have been a lot of stars out tonight in terms of maybe not out because the clouds have been covering them up, unfortunately. Dumb pun.
You want a 6A roundup? Is that what you're
let's do a 6A roundup. I was going to give a Waco La Vega Argyle update.
Please give us that, and then we can go 6A.
15-10. Waco La Vega right now over Argyle, 2:35 left in the second quarter. Also, DeSoto in a delay versus Jesuit, 2:03 left in the second quarter. That game is still going on as well. We'll give you updates on the games that also get called here in just a little bit. But let's give us a little 6A roundup.
It went final.
What did?
It went final, Walchuk.
Denton Ryan has
Sanders
done it again, 26-19. They get the victory. And they made a play at the end there. It must have been a defensive stop to go ahead and ice this thing. So, again, Denton Ryan, I mean, you talk about it in this one. A total of 14 points scored by their defense. 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns, and then the safety. And then they were able to ice it with an interception from Scotty Coles through the interception for Keller Fossil Ridge. It does not tell me who intercepted it, but it wouldn't shock me if it was Drew Sanders that picked that one up.
Or Bowman, Billy.
Yeah, or Billy Bowman. Billy
That'd be
Bowman Jr.
outstanding.
going for his third interception of the night. So that was one. I know we've got our buddy Grayson Nolette on the call for 88.1 FM KNTU Dallas-Fort Worth. But, man, This was a crazy game that is finally over. We've got a final. With all these weather delays and everything going on, we finally got a final. 26-19, Denton Ryan gets it done.
Wow. What a game. And they continue their streak, 32 straight regular season wins.
Yeah, Prosper's up
35-7
over Keller Timber Creek. That's a game that's going on now. They're in the third quarter.
Plano just scored again, folks. My Plano Wildcats are up 26-9 on El Paso Eastwood. A touchdown. I wonder if it was Kyron Cummings. It was not. It was Cole Winnett who had a 60-yard touchdown run. Plano also had a pick six from Sam Albrecht, a 35-yard touchdown run. So El Paso Eastwood making the drive to John Clark Stadium, got up 9-0 early. Plano has since scored 26 unanswered to take their claim rightfully on top of that scoreboard. And Flower Mound Marcus McKinney Boyd 34-14. We mentioned that earlier. Flower Mound taking on Plano West. This game is at half, so we finally got a half. So that one, Flower Mound up 14-7. This is a Plano West team still in search of their first victory on the season after going winless last year. The Prosper Eagles, you just said, up 35-7, up on Keller Timber Creek. Holtham got that one right this time, 34-7. They're up on Fort Worth Pascal. J.J. Pierce, Richardson J.J. Pierce is tied at half with Frisco Wakeland at 7. We know DeSoto and Jesuit unfortunately postponed. DeSoto up 20-10 currently. McKinney and Irving Mack finally kicked off. That one's nearing halftime, 7-3. McKinney up on Irving MacArthur. Austin Lake Travis up 14-7 up on Mansfield Summit. Now that's a game that I believe is also under delay right now, so we'll kind of have to keep an eye on that one to see what goes on there. 14-0, excuse me. I gave Summit a touchdown that they did not earn. We know Duncanville and South Oak Cliff, that game's been called. Bowie and Mansfield, Bowie's up 14-0 in that one, also postponed. We'll see. Louisville 14-13. They lead Arlington Sam Houston. My good buddy Nick Nepic on the call from 105.3 The Fan with that one in that Louisville game. Hebron is now up 27-8 on Arlington Martin. They've padded that lead. That one is almost at half with Hebron kind of pulling away from the Warriors. Coppell, a 20-0 lead. Look, I said this one's not going to be close. Coppell head and shoulders a better football team than Hurst LD Bell. 20-0. That one's in the third quarter. And how about Titus Swen? Our guy Titus Swen from Northwest Eaton, 20-12. They are up on South Grand Prairie. South Grand Prairie just kicked a field goal to cut that one down a little bit. We know that Waco Midway, unfortunately, and Mansfield Lake Ridge have been called. So, we're getting some scores in. We're still on delays. We've had a couple of games canceled. So it's really just a juggling match right now with all these scores around the area. But just a quick refresher on where we're at right now in the 6A landscape.
Well, let's start talking about those cancellations, because earlier it was 10 games canceled. Now it's been upped, and let's go through the list. We'll start with Austin Lake Travis, Mansfield Summit, Salina, Argyle Liberty Christian, Duncanville, South Oak Cliff, Ennis at Skyline, Farmersville at Mount Vernon, Grand Prairie at Mesquite, but that game has been rescheduled for noon tomorrow. Noon kickoff there. Kaufman at Crandall, Lincoln at Greenville, Lovejoy at Sulphur Springs, Mansfield, Lake Ridge, Waco Midway, North Mesquite, Garland, Lakeview, Paris, Terrell, Parish Episcopal at ESD, Richardson at Samuel, Rowlett at Rockwall, and Thomas Jefferson at Roosevelt. And there's a couple other games that we've kind of gone final with, one of which is another game that we have to add to it as well. And we're actually going to talk to Jackson Dunovit here in a little bit, but Jesuit and DeSoto. DeSoto was leading that game 20-10, almost to the second, or almost a halftime rather. And that game has been canceled as well, unfortunately. But there is another game that is going on currently. It is at Allen. Allen Eagles against Utah East. Luckily, that Utah East squad, like you said, Eric, might be battling a little bit of the weather, also battling Allen right now. They're playing the game, so the weather battle's being won, but the on-field battle has not. Let's take a look at Allen Eagles Stadium, where Allen ends up scoring again here in just a little bit. You see the graphic pop up instead, where we'll start in the middle of it. Look at this touchdown run all the way from about the 45-yard line.
Keldon Manning,
touchdown
40-yard touchdown. Wow, what a stud.
You're exactly right. From Keldon Manning, and then also James Griffith just knocked in a field goal as well as we come back here to the studio here at the Star. We're going to take a quick break as we are into hour number 4 here of Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We're almost done, boys. We go to 11, though. Keep following us on Twitter at Friday_Stars for updates, but also follow us and subscribe to Game On Sports Pro on YouTube. We'll be back here in just a little bit.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
Shoots, and he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to?
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
Welcome back here from the Star in Frisco. Friday Night Stars presented by Whataburger and powered by Game On Sports. As we are here in hour number 4 of our show, it's been a fun night. It's been an interesting night with as much as gone on with the weather. And one of those reporters that we mentioned earlier that has been out in the heat of it is on the phone line with us right now. Jackson Dunavant was at Jesuit and DeSoto. Jackson, first off, I'm sorry. Your first night on the job as a reporter, it turns into one of the sloppiest and weather-delayed entire nights of the season. But tell us what that Jesuit and DeSoto game was like.
So, yeah, it was horrible weather. There are actually tornado sirens going off right now. Clearing
oh, my
all the
gosh.
fields. But there was a lot of wind to start the game. But everything started as scheduled. It looked like everything was north of us. And then another cell blew in and ended up canceling the game. But it was an interesting one. DeSoto came out firing early, and it was immediately matched by a 40-second score by Jesuit. And so both teams came out of the gun rear and back, and they were throwing punches early.
Jackson, are you okay? You said there's tornadoes. Are you safe
Yes.
right now? You're calling us, and we really respect the professionalism. But goodness gracious, man, have you taken cover?
No, we are good. I'm sitting in my car. It's barely lightly sprinkling. Little bit of lightning going on, but we're all good here.
Wow. Well, good. That's
Jackson,
good to hear.
We're big on Jesuit here. I mean, Jesuit was kind of a team for us to watch last week when we were kind of doing our kickoff show with Kevin Schumann at quarterback and E.J. Smith at running back. We know DeSoto, obviously, state champions 2 years ago with Shandarian Ward at quarterback. I mean, what were some of your takeaways from the little bit of action that you were able to see?
The biggest takeaway for me was as good as E.J. Smith is, he played over 2/3 of his snaps out at wide receiver. He didn't play much running back today, and it all came down on the shoulders of Kevin Schumann. He was unable to get in a rhythm today. Had a couple good runs where he decided to keep it, gain a couple first downs, but was unable to find a rhythm on the passing game just in the first quarter and a half that they were able to play.
Hey, Heckman Harrison here. Now, let me ask you, man, as far as Jesuit is concerned, this is a team that everyone's looking to kind of turn the corner and take on these big schools like DeSoto and have some success on their way to state. Was there any difference as far as the athletic ability on both of those teams? For Jesuit, excuse me.
I think it all comes down to defense. DeSoto had a ton of speed coming off the ball on offense. It all started with Shandarian Ward, had a lot of speed running the offense at quarterback, and when it came down to Jesuit, they were wide open down the middle. Whether it be their safeties or linebackers not able to get back, there were a lot of 10 to 15-yard pass plays where Ward just picked him apart down the middle of the field.
Wow.
Yeah, unbelievable. And you look at this DeSoto team and Jesuit as well, two big-time names, two big-time programs in the area, but was this DeSoto team, after a big win last week, what are you thinking about this DeSoto team in terms of what they put on the field?
I worry a little bit about their defense as well. Their front four defensive line was solid for as much of the game as they got to play. They had a little bit of issues in the linebacker core, but again, going back to their secondary was solid. There were several plays where you saw people diving all over the field to make one-handed deflections.
Wow.
They didn't get any interceptions. However, though, on the opposite side of the ball, Jesuit was able to force an interception with DeSoto inside Jesuit's 30-yard line. And so the defense came up big. But when you're looking at DeSoto's defense, it all starts with that front four, and they were able to handle it pretty well tonight, but they do have some holes down the middle.
Now, Jesuit with E.J. Smith, obviously he comes in with the bullseye on his back, and you said obviously he didn't line up at running back a lot of the time. He lined up at wide receiver. What was that translation like on the field? Transition, excuse me.
It made it difficult for Jesuit to get much going. They tried a couple reverses with E.J. Smith that gained 3-4 yards both times, but they weren't really able to find a rhythm on the field. Their lone touchdown of the game came on a 60-plus yard reception on the outside, but that was really about it. They weren't able to get much going on the zone. Their first 6 plays resulted in a total of 2 yards.
Jackson, between both these schools, I mean, you're kind of our eyes there at the stadium. I mean, what was a strength and a weakness, I guess, from what you're able to see from both teams moving forward?
I say with strength, when you go with DeSoto, I'd say strength has to be in their quarterback. So Darian Ward impressed me a lot. Even just going back to warm-ups, they had warm-ups where they were going 40-plus yard throws, and he was dropping dimes left and right like it was nothing. On their weakness, I would have to say, is their offensive line. They did have some gaps on their offensive line, which slowed their running game. Ward had to make a couple scrambles that ended up taking it for 10 yards of first down, but he had a lot of pressure on him the whole game. And then whenever you flip over to Jesuit, I'd say their definite weakness is the middle of the field defensively. Their defensive line was fine, but there was just not a lot of, I guess, talk going between the linebackers and the safeties. There were a lot of holes that need to be filled. And then when you go on to offense, their receiver core was amazing. They had very few drop targets when it came at them, which was good because they could not run the ball to save their lives.
Wow. Thank you very much, Jackson. And please be safe driving home on those wet roads as well. Jackson Donovan from Jesuit and DeSoto. And guys, he was talking about that DeSoto ball club. As you see the stats there, they really kind of dominated. Passing wise, they were only up by 30 yards, and then rushing the ball, they could really do it either way. 20-10 was the score there. Unfortunately, that game will not be concluded, but another impressive showing from DeSoto, and that's a team with a first-year head coach that could be dangerous, Zach.
Yeah, DeSoto, obviously. I mean, with Shindarian Ward, you expected them after a down year last year to get back to where they should be, a dual threat running and passing, 10 of 17, a pair of touchdowns and an interception through the air, 4 carries and 42 yards on the ground. The biggest takeaway for me was Jesuit putting E.J. Smith out there at receiver.
Yeah.
And I wonder, Brandon Hickman and that staff at Jesuit, with these non-district games, if they're kind of toying with some things.
Yeah, that's got to be an experience.
That's got to be what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you looked at the workload that they gave E.J. Smith running the football, and Jackson just said they seem like they're pretty deep at receiver. They've got a lot of receiving depth, so they've got to just be kind of playing with some things right now, trying to see what works, what doesn't for down the line once they get into district play.
And that Jesuit defense, man, is what concerns me. They gave up 627 yards of offense last week. They didn't even play the entire first half this week and gave up 295 yards. That is problematic, especially if your ballyhooed running back on the other side of the ball is not really being able to do much for you.
And with that game being canceled, it makes now 17 games canceled in the North Texas area. One game that's surprisingly, and it's one of the ones that we've talked about all night in terms of how is this game actually happening. Denton Guyer and Cedar Hill. Let's look at this. This is a clip that was sent in from Ashley Pickle, and this is the Cedar Hill band in the tunnel, still going strong at 10 o'clock at night. They've been there since about 6:30, and they're still going strong. Just a fun little clip there. So at least it's not affecting everybody in terms of the weather kind of putting a damper on the parade. Excuse me. I'm okay.
They're staying loose, and I think that Ashley specifically did that because she knows how much we value the bands here. And
she knows
they
that
sounded
sock
great
and
too. They sounded unbelievable. That was really the best. But they clearly got the leg up.
I heard nothing but beautiful hymns
from
that band. I don't know about you guys.
I was seeing a lot of action. I couldn't hear squat.
Yeah,
but
I heard
assuming
things.
I'm assuming they got the leg up in the Battle of the Bands tonight.
Yeah, I think that they did. And we might even have Ashley on the phone to tell us just how beautiful those bands sounded.
Oh, wow. Ashley, how's it going?
She's back.
Zach, what is up with you and the band?
I don't know. It's just taken a life of its own, Ashley. But by golly, I appreciate you sending in that video.
Yeah, we just played your clip of the Cedar Hill band in the tunnel, but I just want to let you know that we are sorry for having you out in the rain for so long, but also, was it a damper on your parade throughout the entire night with 2 games now being affected by this?
Yeah, I mean, it just, those were going to be such good matchups in such a phenomenal facility. The teams were pumped. The kids were just excited to be out there playing in the Cotton Bowl, man. Friday Night Lights, the energies are high. To see the players and the coaches just kicking themselves because they want to go out there and play some football, man. I mean, it stunk, but I got to see some football. It was good football from what I got to see, and hang out in the Cotton Bowl. You can't complain about that.
Yeah, big time matchup though with Denton Guyer and Cedar Hill. Is that game still happening right now, or is it still in a rain delay?
It's still going right now. So they're moving and they're going right now. Cedar Hill had just scored not too long ago, so they came out. I mean, you can barely see out there. It's raining so hard, but I mean, they came out and they scored quickly. It looked like they had a good handle on the ball. Obviously, you're not seeing as many passes as you would be, but they came out and they were playing the eyes of Texas. So.
Does the bad weather favor any one of these teams in your opinion, Ashley?
I think it does favor Cedar Hill a little. They typically run, I feel like, a little bit more than Guyer does. Guyer has a little bit better of a receiving core, so I think that might affect it just a hair. But they're both pretty well-matched teams, in my opinion.
Hey, Ashley, this is Heckma Harrison here. I just want to thank you for being the hardest working woman in high school sports now, okay? I just want to throw that out to you, Ashley.
I appreciate you, man. No problem. I did. I enjoyed it.
That's your nickname for the rest of the season, the hardest working woman in high school sports.
Hey, we're going to tag that. We're gonna make a sponsor for it.
There you go.
Don't let anybody tell you any different, Ashley.
Yeah,
you keep killing it
exactly
out
right.
there.
Yeah.
No, man, y'all are too kind. Thank you.
Well, Ashley, I do want to ask one more question. We'll let you go because you've had a long day. But that field, of course, at the Cotton Bowl is a natural grass field. Has it been torn up by this at all in terms of at least Midway and Lake Ridge in that first game, and then now with Denton Guyer and Cedar Hill? How does the field surface still look at the Cotton Bowl?
It didn't look too terrible after that first game got canceled. Not a whole lot of playing time on it. You could start to see the divots popping up and everything like that, a little bit, getting a little bit more rough. But after the rain that we just had there at the Cedar Hill game for probably 10 or 12 minutes, that came down hard. That field's not going to be looking good by the end of tonight. They did have the plastic covers over the sideline, so that's still good. But yeah, the poor maintenance crew at the Cotton Bowl is going to have their work cut out for them by the time they finish the game tonight.
Big time day for Ashley Pickle. Big time results. Ashley, thank you so much for your hard work. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have fun tonight.
Thank you. Ashley on the call. Gosh. Hardest working woman in sports?
The hardest
working
woman.
The hardest.
I would agree. I think I would agree.
She's smart to get out there because if Cedar Hill's going to run away with this one, John Walsh is not going to be happy on that side.
Not going to be a happy camper.
He won't sleep tonight.
Nothing.
No, he's not. He's going to have to go back and watch the tape of this one and say, man, how'd the offensive line do? How'd the defensive line do? We'll be okay.
Cedar Hill currently leading that one 7-0. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Nick Laupy as he was at the Heritage and Southlake game. That game is actually at halftime still going on.
Hey, we got one still happening.
Got one still happening. We got a couple still happening. We'll update that as we'll start Friday Night Stars Overtime coming up in just a little bit.
Maybe you need a little extra room to relax. Maybe you're on your way to celebrate and wouldn't mind complimentary wine, beer, and spirits. Or maybe earlier boarding and easier access to the overhead bin means you're getting settled in sooner. Whatever the reason, give your next trip a little something, well, extra with Main Cabin Extra. American Airlines.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players, to run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scored!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
The Lone Star State equals Lone Star Football. Friday Night Lights meets Friday Night Stars. Presented by Whataburger and Game On Sports. An outstanding night of football. We've had the Dodge Storms all the way throughout. And this is Friday Night Stars Overtime. I'm your host, Kyle Yeomans, alongside Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. Boys, big time night with a lot of games being rained out completely canceled. But overall, there's some games that have been going through. We had an overtime game earlier. We'll get to all of those scores. And really, it's been a night of just kind of unpredictability.
It's been a juggling act, really. We've
really
stayed
has
dry in this beautiful facility here at the Star in
Yes.
Frisco. We're hanging out. This has been awesome, but we've got cancellations left and right. We've got delays left and right. We've just been trying to weed through the storm here, if you will, dodge the lightning and the thunder, but we've got some scores to tell you about, some games that went underway.
And one game we are going to tell you about that is not just underway, but it is at halftime, about to kick off the third quarter, is Colleyville Heritage and Southlake Carroll, two big-time programs. But right now, Carroll dominating. We've got Nick Laupius on the phone, one of our many great reporters here for Friday Night Stars. Nick, first off, I hope you're staying dry enough to give us a great rundown of this game. But Southlake Carroll up 28-0. What's going on, and how good are those Dragons looking?
Yeah, guys, fortunately I was able to, bring my raincoat out, had my umbrella, so I've been relatively dry today. But, yeah, it's been all Carroll really since the first play of the game. If you look at the kickoff, number 3, senior wide receiver Glenn Mitchell, he brought the ball all the way to the Colleyville Heritage 30-yard line, and then on that play there was actually a late hit, moved it up 15 yards, and then the very next play was a 2-yard touchdown run for Southlake Carroll. And I tell you what, their defense has just been stellar. Their first 3 drives for Colleyville Heritage were 3 and outs, and they only had about, 5 first downs in that first half. So, yeah, it's been all Southlake Carroll. And, on the offensive side for the Dragon, it's been slow, long, methodical drives, not a lot of big plays, but they really just kind of wore down that Panther defense for Colleyville Heritage.
Hey, Nick, this is Heckma, man. I want to ask you, as far as has Colleyville responded at all? I know it's 28-0, but have they shown any signs of life?
That?
I was basically asking you, has Colleyville shown any signs of life in this game? They're down 28-0. Have they shown any fight at all? Uh-oh.
I don't know.
I think I'm cutting out. I'm not able to hear you guys.
Well, he was basically asking how Colleyville Heritage has responded to such a strong start from Southlake Carroll.
You got us, Nick?
We might have lost Nick Laupius, unfortunately.
We'll see if we can get him back
unfortunate.
We'll try and see if he'll call back and get him on later. But overall, outstanding start and domination from Southlake Carroll.
I'm shocked, guys.
Are you?
I am.
These teams play yearly. I mean, this has become an annual matchup between these two, right, Heckma?
No, they haven't played some years. I don't recall them playing last year.
But Colleyville usually, this is 10 straight we talked about for Southlake Carroll. So, for Colleyville Heritage, I mentioned it early. When all of a sudden you get down to a team that just seems to have your number, that doubt just starts to creep in. It looks like Will Bowers has had himself another great game, 12 of 20 through the air, 114 yards, has a touchdown rushing with 79 yards, and TJ McDaniel for Southlake Carroll, a guy who we were talking about before this one, could have been a Coppell Cowboy, if I'm not mistaken. 12 carries, 53 yards, a couple of touchdowns. I mean, for Colleyville Heritage, this is definitely not gone their way, but Southlake Carroll offensively, and what was a sluggish performance, as you've pointed out, Eric, they seem like they've maybe finally gotten their groove back here in this one.
Yeah. Credit to Southlake, especially on a night where weather was not really in their favor. They come out against a crosstown rival in Colleyville, and last week, like you mentioned, the offense for Southlake took a while to get going against South Grand Prairie. It finally did in the fourth quarter, but now you see Southlake comes out week 2, and they're putting it on them 28 points at the half. They had 14 in the first quarter. So this Southlake offense seems to be rolling, and I wonder how that Heritage defense is feeling right now. I mean, I don't know, Heckma, you have a pretty good familiarity with that Colleyville team, but that defense, I don't understand what their deal is.
Yeah, well, the thing is one of the things about the Southlake Carroll that they have is that they always pack a running game everywhere they go. And in any situation like this, again, it travels well.
Yeah. Sure.
And so one of the things that Nick said that really stuck out to me is slow, methodical drives. And so what does that say? Short passes, short runs, just grinding it out. And things like that, when you have a defense that's playing pretty much the lion's share of the snaps, that'll wear any defense out. And so that's what kind of it sounds like from what I hear is that these guys, Colleyville Heritage Panthers, are just getting worn out.
And defending a dual threat quarterback is always a challenge.
Absolutely.
Will Bowers out there throwing it, running it, kind of doing it all. That's just, it really puts the pressure on a Heritage defense.
And I think a big thing is Cam Brown doesn't have a catch in this game.
And that's disappointing because I'm telling you guys, we talk about Theo Weiss, and Weiss is he's in a class all by himself. Before I even open my mouth, I'm thinking of him running around in my head, and I'm like, no,
right now,
say that.
five receptions, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Theo Weiss. Just by the way.
But I'm going to tell you, this kid, Cam Brown I call him Dr. Cam Brown because this kid is a surgical route runner. I watched this guy from his sophomore year, basically turn into a world-class receiver with the routes that he's been running. So that surprises me. But it doesn't surprise me when I hear about South Lake Carroll in their running game.
Yeah, it's definitely there, and they are dominant right now. That third quarter has kicked off, and we talked about a lot of the games that have been canceled throughout the entire night. Let's go through of them. 19 of these games have been canceled, some of which have been rescheduled. I'll let you know which. Lake Travis at Mansfield Summit, Salina, Argyle, Liberty Christian, Crowley, Nazarene, LifeWalk, Sahatchee, Duncanville, South Oak Cliff, Ennis, Skyline, Farmersville, Mount Vernon. Grand Prairie at Mesquite has been rescheduled for a noon kickoff tomorrow. Jesuit at DeSoto. That game was called. We talked to Jackson Dunham just a little bit ago. DeSoto was leading that game 20-10. DeSoto will get the win. Jesuit gets the loss.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy because that game was not at halftime yet. So just kind of an interesting one there. Kaufman at Crandall, Lincoln at Greenville, Lovejoy at Sulphur Springs, Lake Ridge at Midway, or versus Midway at the Cotton Bowl, North Mesquite, Garland Lakeview, Paris at Terrell, Parish Episcopal at ESD, Richardson at Samuel. That game has been rescheduled for a 2:30 p.m. kick tomorrow. Rowlett at Rockwall, Jefferson versus Roosevelt. Wiley East at North Forney. That game has been rescheduled for 1 p.m. tomorrow. But with all of those games, 19 of which that have been canceled and or rescheduled, we do have some scores going on. Zach, let's start with 6A. What's going on in the top rank of the Texas high school football world?
Well, Plano's up 33-17 on El Paso Eastwood after dropping behind 9-0 in that one early. Plano since kind of taken off and done really what they should do. They actually just scored another touchdown. They're up 40-17 as this baby just refreshed. Denton Ryan, that was the overtime game. Denton Ryan and Keller Fossil Ridge, 26-19. Ryan outlasting Fossil Ridge in overtime. A total of 16 points scored by that Raider defense, 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns, and a safety. Hopefully we get Grayson Nolet on the line here before we close out at 11 o'clock.
Because we got big news about the quarterback situation.
We got a potential change at quarterback with Drew Sanders maybe there over Ian Hennigan, who struggled today. McKinney Boyd and Flower Mound Marcus. Marcus up 41-21 in the third quarter of that one, up on Boyd. Flower Mound just scored in the third quarter against Plano West. They're up 24-7. Prosper all over Keller Timber Creek, 56-14 in that one. Holtom up 48-14 on Fort Worth Paschal. Frisco Wakeland late in the third quarter up 21-13 on J.J. Pierce. Also midway through the third quarter, a little bit of a defensive tussle going on between McKinney and McKinney North. It's McKinney and Irving MacArthur. 7-3, McKinney is up in that one. Kinlan Ford is up 34-7 on Molina. Arlington Bowie, a game that we did a prediction on. I went Bowie in this one, 27-7. They just scored again up on Mansfield. Hard to believe that Mansfield program, with the success they've had, potentially looking at an 0-2 hole. Wow. Louisville is just a final. The Fightin' Farmers defeated Arlington Sam Houston 14-13. They are now 1-1 on the season, 34-15. Hebron is up on Arlington Martin. They're starting to pull away in this one. That one's midway through the third quarter. Coppell doing what we thought they would on Hearst LD Bell, 41-0. Early in the fourth quarter, that one, the Cowboys all over LD Bell. Northwest Eaton, South Grand Prairie, another really good matchup late in the fourth quarter. It looks like Northwest Eaton's going to get that victory, 27-12. Watch out for Northwest Eaton, ladies and gentlemen. That is a team with a two-headed monster at running back, a solid defense. They are a team to watch out for. They could potentially make some noise come playoff time. A couple other, we jump over some of the cancellation games. Weatherford beat North Crowley 21-14. Keller Central up right now on Richland 17-15. Rockwall Heath up on Wiley 14-7. Allen all over Utah East 31-0. And even though right now we're in a delay, Highland Park up 7-0 on Mesquite Horn.
Well, actually, Mesquite Horn and Highland Park are back underway. They have just started the second quarter. Highland Park is driving currently. They are still in Mesquite Horn territory, but they are still playing as of right now. Chandler Morris in at quarterback for HP. And this is an unexpected call, but we've got Nick Lopius back on the phone. Nick, what is going on, buddy?
You hardworking man.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not sure. I couldn't get a solid signal out here, but 28-0 South Lake Carroll. I'm not sure how much I was able to get through that first time, but again, the biggest thing is that South Lake defense has been stifling for Colleyville Heritage, and their first three drives of the game for the Panthers were all 3 and outs, and they only had a total of about 7 first downs that entire first half. So the big story has been the Dragon defense.
Hey, Nick, let me ask you this question before your phone goes out again, man. Hey, man, has Colleyville responded at all defensively, offensively? I know they haven't scored any points, but any signs of life at all from the Panthers?
On their final drive of the first half, they were moving the ball very well down the field. They got to about the Dragon 30-yard line, but the next play with about 10 seconds left, they ended up throwing an interception to South Lake Carroll, and that kind of ruined that drive. But on the defensive side, they really haven't been able to do much to stop the Carroll offense. But again, on that South Lake side, it's been kind of long, methodical drives, not a lot of big plays. Their last scoring play in that first half was actually about a 50-yard reverse to the receiver, Patrick Trainer, who was actually able to turn it for about 50 yards. But other than that, they haven't had much success slowing down that Carroll offense.
Now, there's a matchup that we've been waiting for all week, and that's the R.J. Mickens and Cam Brown matchup. How's that been materializing?
Well, Brown has been dominating that one really all night long. And it's, kind of been interesting to see that kind of result, to have it so kind of one-sided.
Oh, wow.
Jeezy, but he can't get in the end zone, huh? Brown's dominating, but he can't find his way into the end zone?
No. So far, he hasn't been able to do that so far tonight. Here tonight, sorry.
Nick, how composed does Will Bowers look?
It's incredible to see him. He did break off. It was about a 30-yard touchdown run to make it 14-0 South Lake Carroll. But it looks like he's reading the defense so well. Almost looks like it's kind of happening in slow motion for him. They've had a couple of read option plays where he's made the perfect read at the perfect time. And then on passing the ball, there's been a couple of balls where he's kind of released at a high point and thrown it over his receivers. But for the most part, he looked very composed on the field tonight, even with that delayed start.
Composed.
Is Bauer now? He's impressive, in the air and running. But what seems to impress you more about Bowers, him as a runner or as a thrower?
We've seen a little bit more success for him, at least tonight, running the ball. Again, passing hasn't really had a big pass. A lot of kind of slow. Or not slow, but kind of short, methodical passes throughout the night. But at least tonight against the Panthers, it's definitely been the running attack from Bowers that's been more impressive.
Definitely so. 28-0 South Lake Carroll. That game with 9 minutes left in the third quarter. Nick, thanks so much. We'll talk to you here in a little bit.
All right. Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
Finally got him reconnected. Nick Lopius at South Lake Carroll, Colleyville Heritage, big-time matchup. Another one that's still going on, Mesquite Horn and Highland Park. We've got a quick update from Highlander Stadium. Let's go look at Highlander Stadium. Chandler Morris had 4, count them 4, just like the jersey number, rushing touchdowns last week. Add another one here. He barrels his way in, makes it a 13-0, now 14-0 lead for Highland Park. The Scotties have won 100 of their last 101 games at Highlander Stadium.
How about Mesquite Horn? You start off the season playing the 6A state champion in Allen, then the 5A state champion in Highland Park. And, heck, I know this is a squad that you liked coming into the year. I still think they might be very good. They're just playing the state's elite.
Well, I mean, Yeah, I mean, if you want to build your team's confidence up, let's pick some different
How about a
games.
tune-up game or two, Coach?
Right?
My gosh.
But I understand. I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week on coaches and their mentality going into the season and not scheduling any cupcakes. They want to have a battle-tested team so that when they get to district play, they can say, hey, we've already faced the worst part of our season. Now we can cruise through this, and we won't see this kind of talent until we get deep into the playoffs. And so that could be the mentality that coaches are thinking about. But one of the things that I've noticed, especially with teams where you have a lot of speed, a lot of skill position guys, when you start to play with their heads and guys' confidence starts to dip a little bit and they don't remember themselves making plays, it's hard to get back to that, right? So let's just watch this and see what kind of Mesquite Horn team comes about week 5, week 6, and let's see if these guys regain some of their swag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because right now it's gone.
And big ups to Chandler Morris, I mean, stepping in to, he had big shoes to fill. You always have big shoes to fill when you're the quarterback at Highland Park, but last year,
that's some big shoes.
Really big shoes
ones.
After John Stephen Jones put together a great career there, and the pressure was on Morris at the start of the season, and he came out firing last week, through the air and on the ground, and tonight it seems like it's no different. So Chandler Morris, man, absolute stud, being recruited by just about everybody in the nation. He seems to be, everything that he was cracked up to be.
Yeah,
No,
he
definitely
really
has. Real quick to Colleyville Heritage and South Lake Carroll, we're talking about playing, scheduling teams that are tough. Next week, both schools, tough matchups. Colleyville Heritage taking on Euless Trinity on the road. That's a Thursday night game, so I'm sure we'll be able to talk about that at the start of next
Trinity
week's show.
will be on a really short week then, because Trinity plays tomorrow.
Trinity plays tomorrow.
And then they turn around and play a Thursday game. That is poor scheduling, whoever made that mistake.
It is. You'd think, hopefully, for Colleyville Heritage, maybe that would be an advantage for them. But for Euless Trinity, they are at home at least. For that one, I don't know how much that really helps when you're just kind of driving
That's
down
it.
the road for the most part. But South Lake
Paying
Carroll,
the toll at the airport.
South Lake Carroll's hosting Odessa Permian. What a matchup that is.
that's
Two
gonna be
premier
interesting.
powerhouses. That's a Friday night game we'll be covering here on Friday Night Stars.
And one of the best games that we'll look forward to next week. However, we've got Grayson Noet on the phone right now. Grayson was on the call for KNTU 88.1 FM, where Denton Ryan and the Raiders won in overtime over Keller Fossil Ridge. Grayson, first off, it was a wild night weather-wise, but this game might have just been a little bit more wilder.
I have to agree with you there, Zach. Throughout the first half and even a little bit during pregame, my color commentator Josh Skinner and we were wondering if this game was going to get delayed at any point, but we maybe saw like one or two flashes of lightning all night, and we were able to get through with just a little bit of drizzle and everything throughout the game. But yeah, the matchup itself was absolutely insane by the end of it.
Grayson, you and I have followed Denton Ryan relatively closely the last few years, and they've been spoiled clearly with Spencer Sanders. The quarterback question coming in. Ian Hennigan, obviously Coach Dave Hennigan's son, looked like he struggled on paper, and then Drew Sanders came in to throw the overtime winning touchdown pass. Is that a move that they might make moving forward with Drew Sanders as the full-time starting quarterback?
Honestly, the status of how head coach Dave Hennigan is going to be using Drew Sanders on both sides of the ball is still fairly up in the air. Honestly, if y'all had been there, the touchdown pass that he threw in overtime was completely unintentional. It was meant to be a wildcat run. He fumbles the snap, then scrambles over to the left, and basically just flings it up to his man, Jatavian Sanders, on a whim, and it gets tipped off of a corner's hands and falls right into Sanders' arms. It was a really crazy play. It was not meant to be a pass play by any stretch of the imagination, but Drew Sanders, just being the athlete that he is, made a touchdown pass happen, and it was pretty crazy to watch. But when it comes to how Dave Hennigan is going to continue to use him, he does really like him at inside linebacker. He's a very solid piece there. But when it comes to offense, even tonight, he had him all over the place. He had him at tight end a little bit, wide receiver he played some, and obviously he also was at quarterback, but only for wildcat situations. It doesn't look like he plans on using him for passing or anything of that nature anytime soon at the QB position, at least.
Grayson, that Denton Ryan defense is really stellar. We've seen it. They've proved it. They had 2 interception returns for touchdown tonight. They forced a safety. What is it about that defense that really makes them probably, one of the best in the entire state?
I was going to say, you just brought it up. When we were watching them, when we both were with KNTU, we were spoiled by the likes of Spencer Sanders, Gabriel Douglas, Towski Dove, all those guys out there just putting up numbers and having, over 500-600 total yards per game. But now it's just a totally different team that I'm witnessing this year, and that defense is 100% leading the way for Den Ryan. And I can't really tell you the key to it all. They're honestly a pretty young unit. There's not even a ton of even familiar faces from last year's defense on this team. Maybe a couple guys on the line, but a majority of their secondary especially are a bunch of new faces, including the man tonight who had both interception returns for touchdowns, the sophomore Billy Bowman Jr. The kid was an absolute beast. He also had his third interception of the night, was the one in overtime to end the game. And overall, I just think that whole defensive unit are just constantly hungry, and that front line, they're powerful. They're getting after the quarterback constantly. There was close to 10 team tackles tonight. Delson Neal, the defensive end himself, had 4 solo sacks, or there were almost 10 team sacks. They were getting after the quarterbacks for Fossil Ridge all night long. That whole unit is just young and hungry. They were going and getting everything all night long. It's just the whole unit is hungry.
Keller Fossil Ridge seems like they always play Denton Ryan tough. What did you kind of see from them tonight, and what do you see out of the Panthers moving forward? It looked like Jalen Hurst, their wide receiver, had an outstanding game.
Jalen Hurst did have an outstanding game. He is going to continue to be the leader for that offense. In my eyes, it feels like he had a fantastic 88-yard touchdown tonight as well. But it's honestly, after tonight, it's going to be their quarterback situation because they started the night with Austin Stolman at quarterback, and he ends up having a pretty slow first quarter, so they bring in the backup, the senior Scotty Collis. And Collis, although he ends up throwing 4 interceptions for the evening, he honestly did not have a terrible game if you take a couple of those turnovers, some of them which weren't even his fault, out of the situation. He honestly had a pretty decent game if you just give him credit for the situation that his coach put him in. But I think that's the biggest question mark that Fossil Ridge is going to need to deal with right now. Their defense is solid. They have 8 returning starters from last year on that defensive unit. But right now, you've got a lot of weapons at wide receiver. You got yourself a pretty decent running back in Coleon Evans. But head coach Tony Baccarini, he needs to figure out who he's going to start at quarterback for the rest of the year, in my opinion.
Grayson, Denton Ryan, a team that they've been banging on the door, back-to-back state semifinal trips. I mean, they extend their regular season win streak. They got a game against West Mesquite coming up next, really 2 weeks from now. What do you think about Denton Ryan moving forward? Is this a team that can still compete for a state championship?
Well, they always say that offense wins games, but defense wins championships, Zach. And right now, that's the motto that Denton Ryan is going to have to ride if they want to approach the type of success that they had last year. And, they just had so many big plays. They also had a blocked field goal on the night that helped them hold on to a lead, 17-16 there in the third quarter. They're a team that Dave Hennigan actually said it after the game tonight. Their offense scores when they need to, but so far their defense are the ones who are the playmakers, and they're the ones out there who are putting up the highlights. So if their defense continues to play lights out the way that they have, their offense doesn't need to be Spencer Sanders incredible. And I think that if they ride that train and that defensive unit continues to stay hungry all season long, they'll definitely make the playoffs and they'll definitely be successful. It is just 100% a totally different Denton Ryan team than we've ever seen before. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on them throughout the year, Zach, to just see how they adapt.
Big time game and a overtime game for the first time here for Friday Night Stars. Grayson, thanks. Great job tonight, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for having me back.
Grayson Nolette at Denton Ryan and Fossil Ridge, an outstanding game, one of the best games of the entire night. Another game that's really gone final, but Eric, just real quick, run down some of those 5A scores of the games that have actually been able to be played today.
Absolutely. Grapevine over Abilene Cooper 31-13. Birdville over Little Elm 33-14. We just talked about the Denton Ryan 26-19 victory over Fossil Ridge. Lake Dallas beats Frisco Centennial 40-34. And then we have there's a little bit of time left, I think, in the Corsicana and Boswell game. Corsicana's up by 5, 26-21. Arlington Heights beat Frisco Lebanon Trail 38-14. And then we're in the fourth quarter. Frisco Wakeland's up 21-13 on Richardson Pierce. Let's come down. Granbury beat Seagoville 29-26. And Mansfield Timberview beat Arlington Seguin 39-7. Let's see what else we got here. My Northwest Texans are down by a field goal, 24-27 against McKinney North. 7.5 minutes left in that game. We got a tie ball game in the fourth quarter. Carrollton Creekview and Frisco Liberty, 15-15. And then let's see here. We got Melissa up 49-28 on Frisco. And then as we've talked about all night, we got that South Lake Carroll and Colleyville Heritage game. South Lake's now up 35-7. Heritage finally got on the board, but South Lake running away with that one in the third quarter. And then finally we have Mesquite Horn down 6-13. Mesquite Horn has gotten on the board.
With that, we actually have the touchdown that they just scored.
Beautiful.
And for all of those Parks and Recreation fans, running back Ben Wyatt.
Ben
there
Wyatt.
There you go. Ben Wyatt gets on the board. Let's take a look at it here. As you see, Horn on, I believe that's first down. Yeah, there it is. First down at the bottom of the screen, breaking a couple tackles. Go to the house, young man.
Will not be denied.
I love that run.
Dude,
that was a nice
That was
scamper.
saucy.
Couple ankles on his way too. Right?
Yeah.
That's a violent runner right there. There's nothing worse, man, when you're a defender and you know those running backs that just refuse to touch the ground. They do not want to go to the ground. He seems like one of those guys.
Not that big.
You're exactly right. And one of the biggest things with Highland Park and Mesquite Horn, that Mesquite Horn's never out of it. Highland Park up 13-0 originally. The touchdown scored. The kick failed, so it's 13-6, the score, like you said, Eric. A lot. Man, I wish we could finish that game. That Highland Park Mesquite Horn game.
It's going to be a good one.
It'll be a good one to talk about next week on Friday Night Stars. It's been a fun night. It's been a lot of storms around the area. It's been a wild night in terms of the weather and just trying to get through that. But we do have one more interview we're going to get to. Saji Adam is alive. And Saji, you're out at Utah East and Allen right now. Allen kind of dominating that game. Tell us about what you've seen from the Eagles.
Well, right now they're just playing old school football. They've just been pounding the ball, just running the football nonstop. And then right when the defense feels like they need to rush the run, Tisdale just throws a long bomb, and they get 40 or 50 yards into the end zone. And right at the start of the second half, it was a kick return by the Eagles, and that just shot any kind of motivation the Leopards are trying to get into. And right now, Tisdale just threw another good pass there, and it's now 38-0.
Goodness gracious. 124 yards, 8 for 12 passing and 3 touchdowns for Tisdale. 2 of those scores have gone to Theo Weiss. And what do you think about Weiss? Is he just a man playing amongst boys right now?
Absolutely. He is a freak of nature. He's a great route runner. He's very athletic. He can just get up and get it whenever he wants to. And he is just completely torn apart this defense for the Leopards. And as have anybody else on the Eagles right now, and this crowd especially. Good for them for staying out here with an hour delay, and yet they are still packing here strong, supporting their team. They are so loud right now, it's unbelievable.
Now, we always have those usual suspects from Allen, Theo Weiss, and company. Has there been anyone else for Allen that's made any impact on this game?
I mean, right now it's just been the 1-2 punch of Tisdale and Wheaton, and also the running back has also been pounding it in. As right now the front seven for the Leopards, you can just see that they're exhausted. They just don't know what to do. I think the rain has gotten to them. That delay probably got in their heads. And then that kick return just shot all their confidence whatsoever.
We hear a ton about that Allen offense, and I'm curious about their defense. They're pitching a shutout right now. What's something we need to know about that Allen defense moving forward?
They are hungry. They are very confident. If they get going, you're probably not going to stop them, because once they start feeling themselves, they start getting confident, they start getting that swag, and then they are just an unbelievable defense.
Saji, we talk about this Utah team coming to Texas to play Allen. And this is a Utah school that's won 2 of the last 3 state championships in Utah. They've won 18 total in their program's history. They're really, really good where they come from. Have you noticed that they can compete with Allen athletically, or is Allen just far and away the superior football team?
I mean, you're looking at the score; it's 38-0. It just it was just absolutely dominant right now, and this is still only the third quarter. The fourth quarter is not even close to being started yet, and right now, Eagles are close to scoring again. They're right at the red zone again. It seems that I don't even think the Leopards have even gotten into the red zone once. It's just I don't know. Maybe it was the rain. It's just been. I really haven't seen anything from the Leopards this game to make me think that they could compete with Allen in any way.
Yeah,
Saji, I just want to apologize on behalf of Zach for that just terrible question.
I don't think it was really a terrible question. I mean, you see turnovers all the time, dictate games, get it out of hand. I mean, I was really meaning athletically on the football field, size, skill positions, not necessarily the score obviously being a blowout.
Yeah, and I mean, and also athletically, they have been shown. Eagles have been looking better. I mean, it just seems that it's like what you said. It's men among boys. That's basically what this game has really showed me.
Definitely. So, Saji, thanks so much. 38-0, Allen over Utah East. Saji, thanks. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Saji Adam
Maybe
at
we won't
Utah
talk to him
East
next week.
Allen.
Chuck's so mad right now.
No, he did a great job.
Oh, no, I mean, hey, he can't help that you asked a bad question. How was that Saji's fault?
I didn't think it was a bad question. I want to know how these guys
next week
on
exactly
another
what you
state.
meant.
You know what I'm saying?
I did.
From another state, how do they compete with the biggest and the baddest?
They're
of Texas?
bad where they're
That's what we were
from, but
going
they
for,
got
yeah.
here. They're not
Exactly.
so bad.
Great
I got
question.
you.
Next week on Friday Night Fights, Stars, Zach and
Saji versus Walchuk.
Hang on for the
I was
post
thinking
game.
YouTube.
Hey, we've been there, done that.
We've been here for almost 4 hours. It's exactly 11 o'clock right now. But, boys, before we call in tonight, let's run through those scores one more time. Just some of the top games that we've gone to, whether they've been canceled or not. Let's go through our highlighted games. And, guys, it's been a rough day in terms of some of those highlighted games. Eric, tell us about those Cotton Bowl games right now.
Yeah, the Cotton Bowl games. Well, you had the Waco Midway and Mansfield Lake Ridge game that obviously got canceled, which is a shame for one Ashley Pickle, who spent practically her entire day
The
out
hardest
there.
working woman in high school.
For sure. No
That
doubt.
is correct. And it's a shame for all those, what are they, Wacoans?
Wacoans.
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 For making the trek all the way out. To the Cotton Bowl. Unfortunately, that game ended. I guess it was 10-0 the second quarter. They call the game. Lake Ridge. I don't know if they get the victory there.
No
or what the
victory
deal
for
is.
Lake Ridge.
No victory for Lake Ridge. All right, very good. And then you got the Geyer and Cedar Hill game, which is still underway. Cedar Hill's up 14-0 right now. They just started the second half, so we'll see how that plays out. But Cedar Hill currently up 14-0.
And Zach, looking at your games throughout the night, you had Keller, Fossil Ridge, Denton, Ryan. My goodness, you had one of the better games of the night.
Yeah, that overtime game, 26-19. Denton Ryan got the victory there. We had Grayson Ouellette on to kind of tell us all about that. And then, moving ahead, some of these other games that we didn't necessarily hit, Arlington Bowie did defeat Mansfield. An outstanding game from their quarterback, Mr. Mays. Malcolm Mays, 4 touchdowns through the air, 228 yards passing, and 71 yards on the ground. Arlington Bowie, watch out for the Volunteers. And Hebron, they look like they're going to run away with this one with Arlington Martin 55-22.
And then looking at your games, Heckma, you had some tough luck. Duncanville, South Oak Cliff.
Yeah, well, like I said, the All Neighborhood Bowl did not materialize. Jason Todd and the South Oak Cliff Bears went into Kincaid Stadium hoping to get a victory versus the Duncanville Panthers. Didn't materialize. Jacaden Jackson, quarterback for Duncanville, had some early success, but 7-0, Lightning, it's over. Pretty much exit the stadium.
Forget you, Mother Nature.
I hate those cancellations.
Yep.
There are 19 of them, and probably more so since we last checked throughout. And then some of the other games that you looked at, Colleyville Heritage, South Lake Carroll. Right now, it's dominant from Carroll.
Yeah, well, that's a game that I definitely did not predict to go that way. However, I mean, I want to make sure that I mention this. Raleigh Dodge has these guys playing some pretty disciplined football there in South Lake Carroll. These guys look like they're back for all intents and purposes, back on that state-bound road that they had been on before. Had a bad year last year, but this year looking like they're just rolling.
And I know it's Friday Night Stars, and we're focusing on Friday Night Football, but there is a game going on in Fort Worth or in Dallas right now. TCU and SMU. SMU just picked off TCU inside the red zone. That's a 14-12 TCU lead.
So say it with me now. How good is North Texas?
How good are the North Texas Mean Green?
Well, we're figuring
We're
out.
going to
They're
find
pretty
out
darn good.
a week from tomorrow when they go play at Arkansas.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're going to go to that game.
I'll be there.
Have fun.
Thank
but
you.
other than that, back to high school football. Eric, real quick, who's your Friday Night Star?
Oh, without question, it's Billy Bowman. 3 interceptions, 2 returned for touchdown. That Denton Ryan defense.
Don't leave out the
is stellar.
junior. He's a junior.
I thought he was a sophomore.
It's Billy Bowman Jr.
I thought he was a sophomore. Oh,
No, his name.
I'm sure.
He's pretty. No, he's a sophomore.
I got him back, baby. Zing.
All right, Billy Bowman. Yeah, he's the man of the night. Even though I still want to just give credit to Caden Davis, kicker for Coppell, because he took the world by storm last week. Yep. Yeah, he is the man of the season. But tonight it's Billy Bowman's night. Walchuk, what you got?
Well, aside from Ashley Pickle, I think that she's definitely up there as a nominee for a Friday night
No
star.
love for Saji?
Let's see.
Wow.
I'm going to go with Malcolm Mays from Arlington Bowie. Malcolm Mays, I just highlighted him. Had 4 touchdowns through the air, 71 yards on the ground. Really, really great performance as Arlington Bowie able to outlast Mansfield. Really just dominate Mansfield 34-7.
He's no Billy Bowman, but he's a hell of a player.
Heck, pretty good.
Good choice.
Hey, my guy, I'm going to call him the all-name, All-American right now. My man, Javon Fontaine. Fontaine from Duncanville. Not a lot going on. Scored a touchdown and then shut it down.
Probably would have gone on to have 7 touchdowns.
It's like probably what would have happened.
I mean, Jahari Rogers is probably he's a Thursday night star.
He's outstanding.
But
Yeah,
my
Thursday
goodness,
night star.
That is the guy to watch right now. Jahari Rogers putting up Madden-like numbers out there.
Converted wide receiver to quarterback, and he's put up over 700 yards passing and 8 touchdowns in 2 games. He had 7 touchdowns in the air last week. He played last night in another Arlington Colts win. My star of the night is actually a couple stars of the night. It's an
we can
entire
have more
team.
than one? Oh, it's a team.
It's a team.
Heckma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo, man.
That's
incredible.
exactly
Kyle,
what it
you are
is.
such a
So
sweetheart.
much, Kyle. I love you guys.
You can come back next week.
Okay, good. But other than that, University Trojans. I know it's not a North Texas team, but it is relevant because they play in a North Texas district. They're in the same district as Aledo, some of those other big-time schools in the 5A ranks, I believe. It'd be 5A. University entered the day with 47 straight losses as a program, which is the longest streak in Texas high school football for a losing streak. They went on the road to play Austin Travis, not Lake Travis, Austin Travis. They won that game 37-0. Not just ending a 47-game win streak.
Doing it emphatically.
Big-time emphatic win with a shutout to add on. So University Trojans out of Waco, Texas. That is my Whataburger.
Party at the Whataburger tonight.
Friday
Way to go,
night
guys.
star.
I think they're ready for Allen.
I don't know about that one. We'll see about that. Allen's looking pretty good right now. But that's going to do it here for week 2 of Whataburger Friday Night Stars, live from the Star in Frisco. Follow us on Twitter at Friday_Stars. We're also on Instagram at Friday Night Stars_ at the end of that one. And then all of us as well will be retweeting throughout the week. High school coverage never ends, but this episode of Friday Night Stars will end. For Zach Wolchuk, Eric Chiafalo, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeoman signing off. God bless, and we'll see you next week.